to call this thing?
I got it. Okay. Incredible, new, fantastic, astonishing, mighty, original, uncanny, sensational podcast.
I'm just going to put down Infamous.
Hello and welcome to Infamous, the audio podcast. This is Brandon, or Mutilus on the forum.
This is Parker, go by Twig on forums.
This is Jermagor Consta, whatever I don't know. I can't even help you. This is Jeremy.
Jermagor. Does that mean you eat Jeremy's?
Jermagor.
No.
God damn, Constagon. You understand?
Jermagor Constagon.
Jermagor.
It's respected. It's fucking king.
Jermagor Constagon.
I'm a king.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I'm a king. King.
I don't know what you don't understand about it. Jermagor Constagon is a perfectly reasonable name.
I'm a king.
Yeah.
It's reasonable. Don't you understand? It's respected. God.
So I'm just confirming. Jeremy is your superhero name then.
It's
your normal name,
AKA.
The name you were given at birth is Jermagor Constagon.
Yep.
And
it's on the certificate.
Your alter ego is Jeremy.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes.
Nice.
For sure.
All right. Cool. Welcome to episode 25 of the Infamous podcast. We don't have any announcements today, so we're going to go straight into the news.
News.
News. The reason why we go straight into news today is, oh man, did we get a lot of news, and it's juicy stuff. It's scintillating. It's falling off the bone. First bit of news is we got Bob's card. We know what Bob does, and oh man, how about that Bob? What about Bob? I've been waiting to make that joke, by the way, for a week on this podcast.
Finally.
So what we know about Bob actually is that he is kooky as hell. He is a 2-power character. He's got 3 health on the front side, 3 on the back side. But does it even matter really? Because on the front side, if he fires his big gun for excessive violence, he automatically dies. And on his back side, if he has not yet activated and he loses all his health, he doesn't actually die. So I don't
think of a way he wouldn't die. I can't think of anything.
What do you mean?
Can you last minute save him? Does it have to be an enemy effect?
Yes, it does.
Is that on the card or is that after they errata it?
It's an errata. It has to be enemy effect.
Okay. So when the errata goes through, he'll not be savable. Okay.
Yeah. So he's got I guess wait. He suffers 3 damage. So you could field dressing him to bring him back with an activated token on him. So I don't know what value that would be, but you could do that.
You wouldn't do that. Yeah,
no.
You would not.
So yeah, he's got a really interesting card. A lot of the stuff that we knew about him is still happening, except we got Hydra Tactics, which is a pretty cool power on him. You can choose for 2 power on him. You can choose another allied character within 2, and then place him within 1 of the chosen characters. So you can hopscotch any other character, which is pretty cool. He's got some movement tech in there. Then
same ability that Winter Soldier has.
Right, that makes sense. And then his the passive on his backside, but how, which wasn't an original spoiler, but now we know. It has a short paragraph trying to explain exactly how it works to clarify for people. But basically, if he is killed, if he is killed, like totally KO'd, while he does not activate it, meaning before he is activated, if he's killed, you may give him a dazed token, and it gains a dazed token instead. That's right.
Yeah.
And during the cleanup phase, when you would normally flip him, he remains on his injured side, and he loses 3 power. So you don't get any power, basically, for dazing him. So the 3 power, if you go from full to empty, and he gains 3 power for it, he loses that 3 power when he comes back to life. So yeah, our first potentially unkillable character, if you're willing to, never activate him until he dies. But
well, I mean, you might not have a choice at some point. You can only pass if your opponent has more activations than you. So
right,
you're gonna have to activate him eventually.
Is he a mystery? Like seriously, is he like either he's the best or the fucking worst? Like I can't decide.
Yeah, I think he's bad, but no, he's a 2-point character. Like this is what Rocket should have been to me. Like Rocket is way too good for what he does. The cool thing about Bob is that he's not going to get randomly one-shotted until like you're willing to accept him as a loss, and he's actually able to contribute meaningful damage because the 0 power cost means that your opponent has to be ready from turn 1 to deal with this attack. And as you see, the 2 damage to everyone within 2 of it isn't on a wild, it just happens. Like, this is exactly like the kind of really scary attacks I like to see, when it's like a very known like quota of damage. It's going to do 9 attack dice and then do 2 damage to everyone around it. It's not gonna be like, well, it has Pierce and like wilds count as 2, like, you know, okay, so it does 1 damage. Like, what are you telling me? Like, I like to know what's gonna happen going into an attack, and so I like this. The fact that your opponent gets to throw you and you suffer 3 damage is pretty funny.
I just imagine everybody like doing like a duck and cover thing as soon as they see Bob, like Monty Python, like, oh my god, or like Jesus Christ, like ducking down and like running away until he does his thing, and then they just fucking murder him.
One little thing about it that I didn't like immediately is I love that he's using the quad launcher in his card, and the model uses a bazooka.
Yeah,
and I really like the quad launcher. Because the quad launcher reminds me instantly of Commando, that Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
God.
Like,
exactly.
and I was like, oh, that's so cool, the quad launcher on the card, and then his model has the bazooka. I was like, oh man, I wonder if there's some sort of reason why they went with a bazooka instead of the quad launcher.
I can tell you it's from a modeling perspective, because the deep cuts into the like 2 cylinders next to each other, you have to get in there so deep that it's really hard to do without breaking into a bunch of pieces. And so the quad launcher would have had mold lines all over it, and so I think they chose not to for that reason.
Yeah, but yeah, the only thing I thought about him is the first thing I thought was, okay, is this character just a big damage bubble on a 2-point stick? And if so, in this game, is that worth it? Would I spend 2 character points to threat to do, something probably around 8 damage to my opponent's army? Is that something I would want? Is that good enough? I mean, it's not that he automatically dies, right? So he's still a 2-point character afterwards to just sit on objective points and hopefully activate last and be difficult to remove. So it's not like he contributes nothing, but I don't know. I don't know if I pay 2 points for excessive violence. I don't know.
Well, I know that I like having a character that can hang back and hold a point for me. The cool thing about him is that you know that he's eventually going to be able to use his big attack, because your opponent can't just snipe him out before he gets to attack once he's injured, because he's just going to become dazed, and he doesn't need power to attack. And so they have to deal with the fact that eventually he's going to actually get the attack off. Mm-hmm. So if I see him getting slotted in as an alternate to Rocket in some lists. I think Rocket is better on overall, but Bob's going to get slotted into the list that have a lot of board manipulation. Like, why would you play Rocket over Bob unless you're also going to take Groot for Deadly Duo? Mm-hmm. This just seems like a smaller package Rocket substitute. Like, if you don't want to take a Tactus card and you don't want to take Groot and you want a 2-point model that can hang back and hold points but also has a big gun, I think this is an interesting option. Because you don't have to worry about, like, some long mover moving up and shooting him in the face, and he oh no, Rocket got dazed, and then I didn't have priority, so he died. Like, well, that's not a problem with Bob, because he's just going to eventually get to attack.
I wondered if this was going to be the first single-point character, because it's just a guy. I think it's totally fair.
So, can you...
I would have been very upset if he was 1 point.
So, because when he is on his backside and he goes to dazed, can you field dress him?
Yes, you could field dress him. Mm-hmm. Because the wording on field dressing is dazed character, not like healthy character. Let's see. I'll read you the exact wording on field dressing. It is a character within 2 of a dazed ally character may spend 4 power to play his card, remove the dazed token, and 1 damage from the ally.
Okay,
so the interesting thing about that is Bob says if this character does not have an activated token and would be KO'd by having damage tokens placed on it, it gains a dazed token instead. During the cleanup phase, when you would flip this card normally, instead the character is injured and loses 3 power. So as far as I'm following this, and let me know if you guys read this differently than I do, it says to me that it basically cancels the attack that kills him. It doesn't say like reduce the damage or heal one. It just says would be KO'd by having damage tokens placed on it instead. So you don't place the damage tokens that would KO him. Am I wrong there? Or is it implying you only stop one damage, or am I just missing that somewhere?
I
And
thought it
would
was
be
just if you
KO'd by having damage tokens.
Yeah, so if he's injured, right? So if he has 3 damage on him, he's killed. And so the wording is, if he would be KO'd by having damage tokens placed on him, instead, it gains a daze token.
So how would that interact with like a character getting power from the attack?
Oh, no,
Would
it
they
doesn't
get-
say instead. It just says, if by having damage tokens placed on it, comma, space, it gains a daze token, instead. And so instead of having damage tokens placed on it. So if you do 3 damage to Bob, does he just not take damage and gain a daze token?
It looks like that's the point. Yes.
I don't see how that couldn't be the case. So
So look. Yeah.
you would
Yeah.
okay.
Yep, you're right.
And then during the cleanup phase, when you would flip, instead, you remain on the injured side and lose 3 power. So yeah, you never heal any, but you don't. It looks like you don't take any of the damage that would have KO'd you. You just prevent the damage.
So if a character did a 0 cost gaining attack, that like a strike, then they wouldn't gain any power from the strike because they technically didn't do any damage.
Okay, so I wasn't prepared to answer this question. So let me open the rules book. I'm pretty sure they actually do.
Okay.
But that's just like a semantics wording thing. Because I don't think you gain
Power for the damage token, you gain power for dealing damage.
right from the calculation step, I think is what you gain the power for. Let's see here. All right, so calculate success and failures. Step A, crits, wilds, and hits add to damage. Step B, crits, wilds, and blocks add to defense. Subtract the total number of defender successes from the total number of attacker successes. The result is 0 or less, the attack is a failure. If the result is greater than 0, the attack hit. The remaining number of successes is the amount of damage the attack will deal in the apply damage step. Step 11, resolve effects that happen before damage is dealt. Step 12, apply damage. The defending character suffers the damage from the attack. A character can only take damage equal to its remaining stamina, and excess of damage is not applied. The character gains the amount of power equal to the damage suffered. Actually, I don't think he will get power. The attacker is resolved. The resolve effects happen after the attack.
Yeah, it sounds like you wouldn't
So
get power.
now, the question is just the wording on the gaining, and I'm pretty sure I know the wording on the gaining. I don't think you're going to get power.
Huh.
After this attack is resolved, the character gains power equal to damage dealt. Yeah, so because the wording on damage dealt is damage applied. So yeah, because of the way the wording is, I'm pretty confident you're not going to get power for attacking Bob if you trigger But How.
He's kind of an asshole. Like, he fucks over your opponent for sure. Like,
Yeah.
you can kill him if you want, but he'll just go dazed and you don't get shit for it. Congrats.
Man,
Yeah,
that's a lot
that's
of
so fun.
weird. I know they were really cautious about this wording. And I know there's a lot of weird instances that it's going to bring up, but like instantly finding a weird one is kind of scary. So field dressing, yeah, because there'd be no reason you couldn't activate them because he wouldn't have fatal damage and he wouldn't be dazed. So I can't imagine that field dressing wouldn't work. Now, again, it kind of loses some value because, again, you're going to be able to activate him eventually. So it's just like, is it worth doing it right now for field
Yeah.
dressing when you could use it on somebody else? Especially not a 2-point character. But yeah, I think the functionality allows it to happen.
Yeah, he's
Oh boy,
he's
this is going to be a fun one.
he's a weird model. Like, he just is weird. He's weird.
Well, my favorite is, so when But How triggers, he doesn't gain damage power for damage either because he's not suffering damage.
Yeah.
And then he's going to lose 3 power. Like, he's never going to get to 8. Like, I'd be
Right.
this is like a feat in War Machine. You need to hold this for the right moment because if you use it too early and it's not effective, you are never going to get to use it again because
Also-
how are you going to
Yeah.
get 8 power?
Also, you can, as an opponent, if you see Bob, if you can flip him over to his backside, even though he will eventually get to shoot the bazooka, when he does it, he'll auto die, and he doesn't get to come back because he'll have an activation token.
Right,
Right?
yeah.
So,
Yeah. Actually, you don't gain the activated token until the end of his activation.
oh, what, really? He can't kill himself on his
Hold
backside?
on. Now I have to check the rule book because there is a definition of what happens when the character
Oh, shit.
dies during their activation. I just need to find that.
Oh my
I
God.
know that your activation ends if you would suffer fatal damage or become dazed. I just want to see the wording so I know what to say the answer is. I don't want to just give an answer that's wrong.
All right, well, welcome everybody to
This is
the episode
fun,
where we
yeah.
just we just figure out what the hell Bob
Quit
does.
asking useful questions.
Or
Yeah.
just-
All right. So I need to find out what page damage is on.
Let's all just agree never to play Bob.
Don't play
Move
Bob.
on.
Can you please not play Bob? Just play Rocket, for
I just
Christ's
don't
sake.
want to look up how this works. All right, it's page 21. You guys can keep talking. I'll check
So,
back in when I get there.
I would suggest Nebula or Rocket or
Yeah.
Okoye. Okoye's wonderful. Play Okoye. Don't fucking play Bob.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
I play
And
Wong
as soon-
a lot. I enjoy Wong.
yeah, Wong's cool. No, I mean, yeah, if someone puts down Bob, can you just ask them politely, can you please not play Bob? And then you explain the reasons of why they shouldn't play Bob. And then you kind of like, gentleman's agreement, like, I know, bro, it would be cool, but let's just not do that today. And then,
I kind of wish the pick ban thing was a lot more prevalent in this game. Like the ability to choose characters and then ban enemy characters. I wish that was a lot more into this game. I think it would make like game selection very interesting. But the problem runs into it's like, well, if I'm playing a team, because normally in games where you get to pick ban, there's not really teams. And so there's a lot of times synergies, but there's not like, well, these 5 characters work together. And it's like that doesn't happen. So it's really hard to say that there should be, but it's like, what if you went in and you're like, well, you could nominate 3 characters in your list, in your roster that could not be banned, and then your opponent got to ban 1. Something like that, maybe. That would, I think, make a lot more... I mean, I don't think Bob would get banned, but you would... Or maybe they couldn't ban a character from your affiliation. I don't know. But, like, if you got some guy, like, running MODOK in, like, Brotherhood or something, you'd be like, well, I'm going to ban MODOK. You're like, okay, well, you don't have to worry about that bullshit. And that would make people that play affiliated-only lists a lot more, useful.
I mean, obviously you're not going to ban Bob
Okay.
because who gives a shit, but like it's just annoying.
Right, but just as an example.
Yeah.
Okay, so the wording is, if a character is dazed during its activation, their activation immediately ends. Additionally, dazed characters cannot activate during the activation phase. It doesn't say anything about KO'd characters. Rip.
Which it should. I mean, Ghost Rider can KO
Okay, so
your ass during your
Now
activation.
you could I wonder if you could argue that there's a circular time loop here where it's like, okay, so order of events, Bob suffers lethal damage during his activation. So first thing that happens is But How triggers, which gives him a daze token. Then this rule triggers the character damage rule, which says if a character is dazed during its activation, the activation immediately ends. But yeah, then But How's already had to have triggered, or else he wouldn't have the daze token. Yeah, I think he's safe if he dies during his turn.
Ugh.
Unless is there an exception on his card that we just read over? The character does not have an activated token and would be KO'd by having damage tokens placed on it. It gains a daze token instead during the cleanup phase when you would normally flip this character card. As a result of daze token, it remains on its injured side. The character loses 3 power. If at any time he is your last character used. Yeah, I think he's safe. I don't think it's possible for him to die from his bazooka shot. Oh, shit. Hold on. It is possible. Just not during his activation. Maybe this is why drop-off isn't allowed.
Oh, God.
That's a zero-cost attack. Also, there's things like Seeing Red. Like, Seeing Red would be legit with Bob.
Yeah,
You're like,
it would.
Oh, you killed Deadpool! Bob, get him! It just, like, nukes your guy because he killed Deadpool. Like,
That'd be funny.
oh, boy. Oh, man. I'm super in on Bob now that I realize that there's a lot of effects that say make a zero-cost attack.
I'm glad.
Face me, Bob! Oh, you don't want Bob to face you.
You know what? I think it's amazing that we managed to go through the exact, like, step-by-step how everyone who loaded this card and looked at it just did.
Uh-huh.
Like, in the whole world. Like,
Mhm.
everyone's like, excuse, what now? Okay, what? No way. Okay, what? Yeah. For a 2-point model.
All right.
I'm very excited now. I'm very excited.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
I think he's worse than Rocket, but I think they're fairly comparable. The one effective attack per game is going to be pretty limiting.
But how many effective attacks do you
I kind of
get
wish
from a model that's like a 2-point range model like that? Shit, man. Hawkeye gets 2 before someone comes and murders him. Like, he doesn't get that many.
He's 3 points.
True. But I'm just saying, models don't get to
50%
attack
increase.
that many
Yeah.
times.
Most models probably get to attack between like 4 and 8 times. That models that attack anyway. Like obviously Wong doesn't attack that much, but
Mhm.
like he's not supposed to. How about we say actions used, like
Okay.
legitimate. The thing is, he does nothing else.
No, he doesn't.
That's my only thing. Because, well, actually, so I think
kills
the more
himself.
apt comparison for him.
He kills
No,
himself.
the more apt comparison for him is Black Widow.
Yeah.
Because Black Widow is hard to kill, and she's like a 2-point character, and that's, I think, the closest comparison.
You know what's going to happen?
Because he's not Rocket. Rocket is a turret. He sets up and blasts people repeatedly. That's all he does. Bob is an impossible to kill model that has a gun sometimes.
So here's what he's going to do. He gets 2 things. He gets to shoot, and then your next model who's anywhere close to him gets to take a 3-point dodge roll. Have at it.
That is funny. That he'll always be doing damage to other
He
characters.
flings
Unless
himself
he's
at
far away.
somebody. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Well, I mean, it is away from your target, so you can't just throw him anywhere, but yeah. And I can't imagine there's going to be a whole lot of people standing behind Bob for many reasons.
They're trying
but-
to juice him up. Get in there.
Mhm.
Do it,
Trying to
Bob.
feed him
Do
power
it.
with Wong.
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be some silly combos
Oh,
with
yeah.
this guy. I don't know that he's broken, but how is getting better and better every time we read it.
Oh my god. So baseline, like, the thing is, you know what? Like, congrats on AMG, like, killing it with interesting models. Like, this dude is interesting.
Mhm.
I don't know if he's
Yeah.
good,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm gonna give him interesting. 2 thumbs up.
Yeah.
Like, congrats. Like, they did it. Okay.
Yeah, I was very let down by the like interest level of Deadpool's card.
Yes.
It just felt very basic.
hmm
And I was like, this is Deadpool? Like, I expected this is what we expected from Deadpool. How is
Oh, yeah.
Bob more Deadpool than Deadpool?
Yeah.
And he's like 10 times more Deadpool than Deadpool is. Like, Deadpool is just Zemo, but like with a gun. Like,
Yeah.
that's just who Deadpool is.
yeah.
And I
Odd.
don't know
Yeah,
if
weird Zemo.
they overcompensated for his model. Like, they made his rules fairly straight-laced. Like, there's a little bit of silliness on there, but not really. I mean, his card is very, like, bare-bones, generic combat model. Like, and then Bob is just off the charts crazy, like, weird. And so,
Bizarro.
yeah, it's just odd. hmm
Again, 2 thumbs up.
Anyway,
That's good.
I think we're good with Bob.
That's the space
Yeah,
we need
I
to
was
play
gonna say,
in.
I'm
In
excited
other-
to play him, and I don't think he's broken, and I'm excited to play him. So that's
sure.
that's a hit.
What's so wonderful about this news is we are only a quarter of the way done. So here we go.
God damn it.
Oh, boy.
Our next X-Force member who got teased with a panel to play this time, so we don't know her card yet, is Domino. I am really excited about Domino. She's one of my favorite MC characters. I have a lot of the stuff that she's in. And she's got exactly what you think. A bunch of guns and some mercenary moxie and, of course, her cool luck powers. So she's got automatic pistols, is what they say. So we'll likely see the same kind of automatic pistols we've seen in the game in other places. So she'll probably get to attack twice with them. A little shorter range, but consistently 2 shots. And then her bigger shot, which is it's a grenade throw. It's got the ability. It's called Lucky Shot. So hold on, and a bunch of. Hold on, I'm reading it again. It says, in addition to a pair of and a bunch of grenades. Okay, so she's going to have automatic pistols, a bunch of grenades, and apparently the third ability, which is Lucky Shot. So maybe she'll have 3 attacks. It's-
Yeah, she's definitely gonna have 3 attacks.
Right.
If she doesn't kill
So
herself
the-
making an attack, I'm gonna be upset.
She will never do that. Have you seen the movies?
That's
She
true.
nothing touches her. Basically, it's probably going to have somewhere around 6 strength, because this is 2 strength higher than the standard shot. But Lucky Shot deals energy damage. Her target can't gain power from the damage that they take, and if the attack produces at least 1 wild, they get stunned. So stun on a wild. And she has my favorite part of her kit, and I'm in love with this because I love dice fixing. One of her abilities is called Probability Manipulation. It's a reactive superpower she can use anytime she rolls attack, defense, or dodge, Spend any amount of power to convert any failure to a critical.
Yeah.
Ah, so good. So if you can keep power on her with some cool stuff like A-Force, that's going to be awesome. I want to stop and talk about this power manipulation for a second before we go on.
I don't think you'll need A-Force to keep power on her, but yeah, just think about doing the math, because if she's in X-Force, she gets to reroll 1 attack die. So if you're getting an attack die plus your skulls count as crits, you're going to have a much higher odds of dealing damage with an attack. So you just attack with her basic, and she's going to build up power super quickly.
Wait, why do her skulls count as crits?
Is that what the probability control does?
No, probability manipulation says she can spend power to convert failure to criticals. So she has to spend power to do failures to crits.
Yeah. You get power for playing the game, Parker. I'm just saying, like, it's going to be like MODOK. Once you get some power, it's going to roll into more power.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Because if you're attacking with her gaining attack, right? So let's say it's even only 4 dice. Well, 4 dice plus a reroll, plus you're going to have 1 or 2 power by your first attack in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And so then maybe up to 2 skulls that count as crits, you're going to generate much more hits than the average character. Therefore, you'll gain more power than the average character will attacking. And you just roll that into more modifications.
I actually think she'll be balanced around the actual automatic pistols. I think she'll only get to shoot. I think she'll get to shoot twice and gain a power for each one. Every automatic pistol in the game does not gain straight power for damage. It's all get a pip of power. So I don't actually think she'll be able to convert the criticals that she gets with her basic attack back into power. I think they'll actually balance her that way. If she wants to spend power to true failure to criticals, she'll actually start to go down in power. That's why I thought putting her in somewhere like A-Force, where you can make a character overflow with power very quickly, where power's never really a problem. That might be somewhere where she gets to see that being used more often. I would be really amazed if automatic pistols does power for damage. I would be, because every other automatic pistol in the game does a single power.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess I was assuming it was going to be a single attack, though. But you're saying it's going to have rapid fire.
I think her automatic pistols will be the exact same as Black Widow, and who's the other automatic pistoler?
Mystique.
Mystique.
Well, Mystique has pistol, which is why hers requires a special roll. Yeah. But yeah, the automatic pistol that is on Black Widow is just automatic rapid fire, gain 1 power per attack.
Yeah.
So yeah, if she has that, but I mean, then you're potentially attacking 4 times. If you're rolling more than 1 skull per set of 4 dice, I guess, but you are getting power for powering up as well. So she's generating 5 power a turn. I think she'll be fine.
Yeah, I think it's a power that'll actually happen a bunch, and I think it's really cool.
Yeah,
really cool. I really, really like dice fixing. Is she one of the first dice fixers? Just spend a power, turn a dice to what you want. I don't know of any. Just off the top
specifically
of my head,
changing it to what you want, yes, but Beast can spend power to reroll his dice.
Lots of rerollers, but I think this is the first true dice fixer. Turn the dice to the face you want, or do a face that critical is a success.
Well, I mean, if you're counting that, then anyone who spends power to count blanks counts. So
yeah, okay, there you go.
Corvus Glaive. Yeah, because you're talking about spending power to change one face to another face. Then yeah, there's a precedent for that.
Yeah, there's also I also love this. There are a couple characters in the game it would do nothing to turn your failures to criticals. Like if Vision hit you with Sensoid Avenger, it would actually do nothing. You're like, yes, I will spend a power to turn my failure into a critical, and he goes, okay, because the critical still counts as a failure. So there may be more interactions in the game where your criticals are ignored. So that would be something to think about if you're using that power.
Don't forget, this power is on the downtrend because every other model released is going to have angelic ribbons. So, I mean, it's basically worthless.
Right.
Does she have angelic ribbons? If she does not, I'm very upset.
It does not say she does not have angelic
good.
ribbons.
Right. Good. It says she could have more power, so likely angelic ribbons.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was close.
Her other innate superpower called Things Tend to Go My Way. Basically, it's kind of the wild good luck that she just seems to follow her along. When she's attacking or defending, enemy characters do not roll additional dice for their critical results. So it's not that they can't fix their dice. So it's not exactly ribbons, but it's close. Yeah. You cannot explode dice off of criticals against her when she's attacking or defending, which is not nothing. Not nothing at all.
That is something to note, yeah. Can't wait for the domino on domino battles when she comes out, because everyone's going to be playing X-Force.
I actually think Domino making it's difficult to spike against her because you have to use your flat dice, so you know your opponent's only going to have those dice, and then you can fix some of your dice. She's supposed to be a probability character, and in a probability-based game, I think she's going to be strong because they gave her probability stuff.
I assume, but I'm curious what the timing is on her reactive power or probability manipulation, because if it doesn't happen as you're rolling the dice, you don't get to roll extra dice. But I don't know if they reference that in the text, so I assume it's going to, but technically it's possible that it doesn't.
Yeah, because any time she rolls, what they said here, so we don't know.
Yeah, the wording's not going to be specific enough to tell us. I assume it will be, but there's a small chance that it's just going to count as a hit, basically.
I assume Domino's a 3-point character. Can we assume that? Or do we think she's going to be a 4-point character?
I'd be very surprised if she was a 4, since Deadpool's a 3.
You think she'll be a 3 also, is what you're thinking?
Yes.
I think,
which means the faction's going to be 13 points?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's its own thing. Like, yeah, you can't make Deadpool 3 and then put any other characters out around him. Like, that's like sacrilege, right?
Yeah.
All right. Other news. We finally found out that our podcast called it first. One of the mystery fuzzy girls that we were talking about a long time ago was in fact Sin, Red Skull's daughter. But Brandon was right.
We already talked about that, but yeah.
Yeah, Brandon was right. I don't get my new Hydra faction. They're just going to keep making Cabal fucking 70 fucking characters, and it makes me sad.
A-Force has
What'd
70
you say,
fucking
Parker?
characters.
I said, what were you trying to...
I
What's
had
that?
to do a timestamp so I can cut that into every time you speak.
But Brandon was right.
I almost trolled you earlier for asking you what the name of the new faction was so I could put it on our review list, but oh wait, we can't. There isn't one.
I will say this. I believe if I go to the videotape, and it doesn't actually exist in the videotape, but if we go to the recording, I think I said it's entirely possible that you were correct. I just didn't want it. I just really didn't want it, and so I was wishing against wish, hoping against hope. But you were more correct than I was, for sure. You were correct. I was not. So Sin is going to be a new leadership character for the Cabal faction. Just saying it out of my face makes me sad. She is supposed to be kind of well, in the comics, in the comic book, she is a fully psychotic, very unbalanced lady, and so they try to make her character reflect that in some ways. Since we're talking about it, I'll go ahead and talk about her Cabal affiliation ability first. It's a little goofy. It's called Red Mayhem. Basically, what it says is Mayhem. Red Mayhem. During each cleanup phase, after tabulating victory points, so after victory points and everything is done, Sin gets to roll a die for each objective contested by a friendly character. If the roll produces a hit, wild, or crit, she can push each enemy character contesting that objective a short distance away. Red Mayhem also forces enemy characters holding assets within proximity of Sin's allies to drop their assets for the Cabal to scoop it up. And now that part of the thing actually confused me a little bit, because it says to only roll a die for each objective contested, but then the other part says Red Mayhem also forces enemy characters holding assets within proximity of Sin's allies to drop their assets. So do you even have to roll for that?
Each objective contested by a friendly character.
So the article is a little strange because they explain how the roll lets you push enemies away from objectives, but it doesn't say how you take, or rather knock, assets out of people's hands.
It's a separate sentence, Parker.
Yeah.
It's push them a short distance away, period, space. Red Mayhem also forces enemy characters holding assets within proximity of Sin's allies to drop their assets. So it's completely unrelated ability.
Okay.
And so they are separated. So the key there is within a proximity of her allies. And so within some distance of her character, she's going to force you to drop objectives,
right,
which is huge. Like, that's crazy.
Right, but do you think it's going to be linked to another dice roll? Probably, because it's supposed to be part of that.
It just says within a proximity of her characters.
Right, yeah. The panel to play, it says it just happens. And if that's true,
Honestly, I don't think it will be, because every other drop objectives thing is 100% not dice dependent. Mm-hmm. Like, Venom Blast from Miles, the Siren's Call from Enchantress, all of that stuff is just like, it happens, get over it.
Yeah.
Like, there's actually very few times they put randomization onto objectives, and it's usually the objective itself is the randomization.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it will tell you what you have to do to get it.
Yep. So what I mean, as soon as I read that, I went, okay, a conditional-ish ability, objective based. What do you guys think?
This struck me as exactly like Brotherhood. There's the like very aggressive power gaining leadership, and then there's the very complicated objective based leadership available in the faction. So it seems like the factions that they plan on filling out a lot more are getting like one combat leadership and one scenario leadership, and so it's interesting. I think that's going to be a trend we're going to see continue.
Yeah, it makes sense. I bet our Captain America, or rather our Falcon Captain America, will likely have another objective thing for the Avengers to do similar treatment. That's an easy prediction to make.
Yeah, he will probably have some kind of scenario-based leadership.
What'll be interesting is if it works on multiple objectives. So if somebody's holding like 2 hammers, do you puke up both?
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my god, like that's kind of crazy. Maybe.
Yeah.
Depending on the timing of this, when it says for the Cabal to scoop up, do you actually get to immediately spend a power if an objective drops next to you during that phase?
No, I don't believe so. I think
Okay.
the intent is that you force them to use their priority in an unfortunate way, or you take advantage of your priority.
Mm-hmm.
It does say drop their assets, but maybe, I don't know, maybe they're referring to the plural of characters and not the plural of assets. I don't know. Get ready to get fucked, Jeremy. Drop all your shit.
Whatever.
Tell you what, though, playing the worthy with Cabal is going to get a lot more enticing when your opponent can't hang on to them for a long period of time.
I like a shift in the game in this way. I think that's really cool. Because if worst case scenario, you don't have priority that turn, but they puke them up. I mean, so you're going to lose half of your objectives, right? Like you just lose half. It's not like all of it, but you're going to have to plan for that shit. Like that's what will happen.
Well, I was going to point out as well, depending on the wording of this, she'll be able to trigger the push to push your character with an objective token towards her army to then trigger the proximity to make you drop it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what the proximity range is going to be. It could be range 1, like we don't know. It could be range 3, probably not. I hope not, because that would be freaking terrible.
No, it'll be.
But yeah, it's probably going to be range 1, maybe range 2. I think range 1 is
range
more
1
likely.
seems.
It should be
real.
hard to trigger that.
Yeah.
And I want to say Enchantress's is range 1 as well, right?
Yeah, the kiss is range 1. And range 1 is intentional, right? Like range 2 is like, oh, I'm within range 2. Cool.
There's no accident on range 1.
No, range 1 is like I'm up in your grill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can both contest to the same objective and not be within range 1, like easily.
Yeah, that's actually, as soon as I thought about it, like how this could stuff your opponent and really ruin their day, all of it's like simultaneously in one turn, then I immediately thought, okay, yeah, if they make this really short range, that will actually be fairly difficult to manage in multiple models. And I as an opponent can do something. I say it like I'm never going to play this faction, but I as an opponent could do something about it, right? If I knew it was coming, I could do something to end my turn not in range 1 of one of them to make sure this wasn't going to happen to a model like
It's mostly them taking advantage of order of activation, because if you activate your important character early and leave them somewhere, then they can just run like a Crossbones up and stand next to you, and you're going to look like an idiot when he steals 3 of your worthy hammers, and you're like, oh no!
That's an oxymoron. Run your Crossbones.
No, he'll be running. It's just because that's the only way he can move an entire short maneuver. I assume that there will be a new Crossbones that comes out, Crossbones 2, like Electric Boogaloo, and he'll like have robot legs and hands, and he'll be able to move at like, place 2, which is like slightly slower than like range 2. Like, I don't know.
So some other Sin stuff we know.
No, hold on. I actually had I had 2 more things I wanted to say on the leadership.
Okay.
First off, we like to draw comparisons to things that they release, and then when they duplicate similar effects later on, for example, angelic ribbons. which, by the way, I was going to call it for Domino. You could call it Luck Streaks, because it's
Lucky
like
Streaks?
ribbons of luck.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like
Lucky
it.
Streaks. I don't know. But anyway, so because Enchantress was basically the last thing released, then conveniently the next release that we're talking about is going to be range 1 drop your objectives, or potentially range 1 drop your objectives.
Mhm.
So that makes me kind of assume it's going to be range 1, and I'm going to be very surprised if it's not. And then the second thing is, I feel like this leadership is going to be specifically punishing to low model count lists, because it's going to give you board manipulation against those people for standing on objectives, and it's going to take their extraction points, which means that they're punished for having priority, because you're going to be able to completely ruin their scenario chances if they've got a low model count, because they're going to have to spend activations and valuable power picking up these objectives. And the action economy of moving back to the secure points is going to be very punishing to low model count lists. Like, if you got 3 models and you're spending half your action just walking back to secure points, that's going to be horribly punishing. And so that's what I took away from this.
Well, a lot of low model count lists also have range, so they may not care to be just a little bit further back. But
Sure, but
have
if
to
they're giving
contest-
up all their extracts and their secures, the game's not going to last very long.
yeah, they also those usually 3 model count lists. I'm not convinced, because 3 model count lists can always just daze my character that's contesting. Like, they don't actually have to get close to it; they can just remove them.
Sure, but it's just because usually the problem with if you're just going to play 100% kill mode, you have to still stop your opponent from scoring. And if they're taking all the points and all the extracts, that's going to be a lot harder to do.
Yeah, I'm not convinced. I've seen too many. I've seen Magneto go, "Oh, is that a guy you have?
That can't
I'll delete
happen.
him. Oh, my activation's not done. I'll just guess I'll delete this other guy too." Like, I've seen that happen too many times. All right. So other things she can do. She also has apparently one automatic pistol, so we don't know what that does. But maybe it's just a gun, or maybe it's an automatic pistol with a rapid fire. But she has a attack called Make It Personal. It's a physical attack. It's a strength 6, and if she gets a critical and wild, she adds what's called Insult to Injury. It allows her to immediately follow up with a second Make It Personal without paying its power cost. Switches the attack type from physical to mystic, because she's hitting you with rage, basically. And I think that's really adorable, that it's flurry, but it turns the second attack into mystic, because she's just screaming at you, going full Karen at you. I love it. I love it. So
Yeah, I very much like this. It's basically just Twist the Knife, right? She just has Twist the Knife on the attack.
mm-hmm. Which makes sense.
From,
And she's
criminals.
the perfect character to have that kind of ability, right? Because she is exactly that kind of twisted, just absolutely demonic lady.
It reminds me of the scene from Mastermind when the main character is like, he's taught the kid he's turned into Superman, like, and they're fighting, and so in the middle of the scene he's like, and they're fencing, and he's like, all right, now let's do some witty banter. You go first, and he's just incoherent screaming, attempting to murder him. And he's
I
just
don't
like,
know what to do.
all right,
with
we'll
that."
work on that. That's what it reminds me of. She's just like, they're like busy fighting, and she's just like incoherent screaming.
Yep.
It's like, die!
And finally, we have the pièce de résistance, the reason you play Sin.
Mhm.
If you activate her within range 4 of a Crossbones that doesn't have his activation token,
Yeah.
he gets to immediately activate right after her. What?
Oh
What?
shit!
Let the record show Parker has his hands up in the air like he just doesn't care.
This is amazing, groundbreaking. How sarcastic can I be? Like,
How
it's
many
just-
I'm just
Mind
curious.
stones can they
How
carry?
official? How official do we have to make MODOK marrying Magneto for them to double activate? Like, if all it takes is a ring, let's just make this happen. Like let's just get as many people married as we can so that we get all the free activations. Like, how? I don't want this to turn into a recurring theme. I mean, we already have the one power couple. Like, do we need 2?
Are they married
Well,
though,
in the
or are
co-
they
in-
just like?
No, they're not married. They are very, very often together. They are both. Well, Crossbones was a really consistent lackey of Red Skull's. Like, he works with them a whole lot, and so because Red Skull treated his daughter, tried to turn her into a psychotic negabitch weapon. Crossbones was one of the only people who kind of took pity on her and formed anything sort of like a relationship, like a friendly relationship. Like, he's just her friend because he kind of pitied her and this horrible thing that his dad was doing to her. even though she, like, sadistically enjoyed it.
This
So
seems like the plot of Batman 3. Am I wrong?
yeah, the Bane, yes,
It's
the
just
the
Bane
the
and
yeah,
Talia.
Talia al Ghul and Bane, their relationship is very, very similar to that.
Is
to the
Bane
one
also
between
slow?
Crossbones.
Is Bane also slow and worthless?
Bane is very slow.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Bane is really
Okay,
slow.
Just checking.
I don't
Not
think
Tom
I
Hardy
don't
Bane.
think I saw him run once.
Not
Yeah.
Tom Hardy
Yeah.
Bane. No. Not my Tom Hardy. He's fast.
That guy was fairly quick. Yeah,
Tom, yeah,
He's
I was gonna
fast.
say,
that guy threw hands.
I heard that Tom Hardy exclusively plays Crossbones in Marvel
Oh
Crisis Protocol.
no,
Exclusively. So
I won't give
So
up.
he could play Bane, Crossbones, and Venom potentially. That would be amazing.
Mm.
What a
So-
collection of 3 bad guys.
but I don't think he actually would. No, I don't think he's gonna play. No, I don't think he's
not
gonna.
playing. He's not
we-
playing Crossbones.
No. He's played
Rumbo's
Crossbones
not
when he.
coming back.
No. When he plays this game is what I'm saying. When Tom
Oh,
Hardy
I see.
plays
Yeah, I see
Marvel
what
Crisis
you mean.
Protocol.
Tom Hardy plays Crisis Protocol, but he only plays 3-point character called
Yeah.
Crossbones. That's all.
Only Crossbones. All
I see what you
Crossbones
mean.
all the time. And now he will also play Sin because, dynamic duo there. Okay, but we joke a lot because of how silly this is. This is just feels like such a joke. I don't get it.
It just feels like the worst 6-point character in the game is just Sin duct taped to Crossbones. I would just guess.
Yeah.
That's probably true.
It's
It's
like-
like if you were going to form a Mecha Shiva, it would not be with these 2 characters because the foundation is so weak.
So the
Like
only,
it might be
yeah.
a good top, but like if they're chicken fighting in a pool, like he's gonna drown. Like there's no way around it.
So is this the equivalent of like your cousin has a sheriff? Like he's a sheriff, and then he comes to you and says, "My boy needs a job," and you're like, "Well, I don't know about that." And then he's like, "No, you probably ought to get my boy a job." That's Crossbones.
And you're like,
"Uh-oh. Fuck! All right, give him a job. God damn it! Like that's Crossbones, right?
Nice.
Mm.
So anyway, that's some Sin stuff. Is it weird? I after I read her stuff, and part of it was immediately me being, upset that there was no such thing as a Hydra faction because I wanted to see that. But besides her leadership ability, which is cool, I am very uninspired by her. Maybe it's just because the Crossbones thing is so wimpy, but.
I think she'll be fine. I'm expecting her to be a 3-point leader from what we've seen. Like she doesn't seem to do anything too crazy.
Mhm.
But of course we don't know very much about her card. But I'd be excited to look at maybe doing a more because who's the other one? It was Madam Viper was the other one.
Yep.
That we don't know anything about yet.
We don't know anything
So
about her.
it looks like if we're getting more releases for Cabal, we will see another side of Cabal that is not like Uber character, and it's more like synergy based, like higher model count. Because if we're getting, because then if Crossbones, Zemo, Bullseye, Sin, maybe what's her name, Madam Viper, like you look at like maybe 5 3-point or less characters, like all of a sudden you can do a very filled out roster that isn't just MODOK, Magneto, and Red Skull that eats up all of your points.
Right.
And so I think there'll just be a whole new take on Cabal coming out soon, and that seems interesting to me. It will revitalize the faction, and it will stop being the same list every time.
Also, one of my favorite things about her reveal actually is her model. I wasn't excited about her model, but their card art, which was revealed, like her actual character on the card, is perfect. Like she looks
very
like
crazy.
Yeah, she's got a butcher knife it's like a giant combat butcher knife, and like it's not just a regular automatic pistol. It's like this pseudoscience, energy pistol, and she's like in this dominatrix outfit, and her eyes look super
it's the
crazy.
eyes.
Yeah,
You
her
can see the white
eyes-
like all the way around.
Uh-huh.
She's just like, yeah.
and she's got a big ass like toothy smile on. Like
Mhm.
she looks so terrifying. I really like her because in the comics she is great. Like she's a really cool character in the comics, and that's who she is. Whoever did this art, hats off. You knew who Sin was, and you did a good job. So yeah, that
I
was
like
very,
the
very
knife
strong.
a lot. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
the model just looks like a dagger.
Yeah, the model
the
is.
knife's really cool.
I wish the model had that cool, the cool gun and the cool knife, and it just. I know it's hard to translate those directly, but whoever did the art is it's perfect.
Well, don't forget, sometimes the model they show us is not the model we get.
Okay.
If anyone's not familiar, go look at the Hella box art and then look at your Hella model. There are a lot of differences that you didn't realize.
So, finally, I think we're ready for the big one. Man, I am so
big
pumped. And I am so excited to talk about this because Jeremy is not so pumped.
Oh, that's right.
Jeremy is not so pumped, and this is why I'm excited to talk about it. We got Cable Card.
Oh.
So, we learned a lot of things about Cable.
I'm with Jeremy. Let's just not talk about this.
He's
God
dumb.
damn it. You are not going to blackball me like you did with Angela again. It's not going to happen. And
that's all the time we have for
No!
Thanks for tuning in.
Cable activates, domino, like cable activates, and then bullseye immediately activates afterwards. What are you going to give us? Go.
I think I actually only vaguely skimmed this, so this will be semi-informative to me as well. Go ahead.
Okay. So, Cable. I'm going to go in some details because he's kind of a PlayStation. He only does everything, but there are some things about his card that we definitely
got to stop saying that.
He does. It's a motto. So, what's the motto with you? Whoops. Okay.
Oh my god.
Okay.
I'm gonna kick him from the call. Parker's gonna leave now.
So he's a 5-point character. Some things we didn't know about him is he's speed short. I think is that a large base or a medium base?
He's medium base. We've known he's been a medium base for like 3 months.
Right. So he's a medium base, but he is short speed, even though he's a size 2. They said he was going to have high stamina. He has 6 on his front side and 7 on his back side. His defensive stats are 3 physical, 3 energy, 4 mystic. Brandon called it. I agreed, and Jeremy was wrong that he does have a range 5 basic attack with 5 dice. So he basically has Rocket's Gun with Wild Incinerate, which we don't think we knew.
I believe I guessed he was going to have I believe I guessed he was going to have 6 power or 6 might or whatever they call it, 6 strength on the attack. And but I did not foresee the Wild Incinerate. But I think I mentioned that it could be 5 dice with a wild effect. That's pretty good, like Pierce.
Right.
Wild Incinerate's pretty good. It's not Pierce, but it's pretty good.
Also, the fact that you double tap it, and so far a lot of the Incinerates we have in the game are not on basic attacks. I think right now we have Crystal and him are the only 2 Incinerates
Toad.
on basics. So
Toad is not on his basics.
It's not? Oh, but
Yeah.
it okay.
no.
No, it's on his special. I want to say only costs 2, but yeah, it's his acid spit does the incinerate.
Oh, but it's not
random. It always
it's not
does
random. Yeah, that's his deal.
Oh,
Okay.
I guess
always
Ghost Riders does not cost power, but it's on his beam, which doesn't gain him power. So I don't think you'll see that very much.
So you heard it here first, guys. Toad better than Cable. Just write that down.
Done.
Put that in your notebook.
Close the book, putting Toad on now the list. Okay. We know that his second attack has actually been clarified, and there's actually a distinct difference between what it says here and what it said in the panel to play, because it doesn't. It's just the way it's read. Yeah, it is the same as the panel to play. It's just the way you read it, you might think about it a different way. And I actually learned this in a game with Jeremy I just played. But basically, it's an AoE around himself. It costs 6 power to play. It's a 7 dice attack. If the attack does damage after the attack is resolved, remove 1 damage from Cable. That doesn't happen just once, though. It's every single dice roll counts as an attack. So you would get to remove 1.
The way any of the attacks that can generate multiple attacks work is you perform the attack multiple times. So all of the things that trigger multiple times.
And we also know that the only thing that changes on his backsides beside his health is that attack. The Scanny Sun does exactly the same profile on his back, except it also has on a wild and it looks like wild hit. It's kind of hard to see here with this image. It looks like a wild and a hit. It causes stagger. Just stagger, which is super cool. An AoE stagger around himself on a wild and a hit against the character. Did you guys have anything you wanted to say about Ascani Sun? I don't know if how often it's going to happen because he seems like a ranged powerhouse. But if anybody comes to him, he could just stagger him, I guess, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I think he's got better uses for his power. It's not an automatic stagger. If it was just always stagger, that'd be pretty cool.
Right.
This is probably the least interesting thing about him, even though it's a pretty cool attack. I just don't think it's going to get used.
Yep. we knew already his affiliation. He lets him lets all alloyed affiliation for X-Force lets all alloyed all he has an alloy.
God, I hope they add Colossus to this faction soon.
Each ally character gets to reroll 1 die in their attack rolls once per turn, so not every single attack, but once per turn. So a lot worse than Inhumans, but similar.
That's way better than Inhumans' ability, I think, but sure.
Really? Inhumans get to reroll 1 dice on every single attack.
That's not their leadership ability.
No, it's their, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
It's a leadership ability.
You're right.
Which means that they don't have to be X-Force characters to get this bonus.
True, and that means you can put an Inhuman on them and they get to reroll 2 dice. Haha.
Yeah, see?
So he has Body Slide by 1, which is a self-teleport place within 2. So even though he's only speed short, if he spends 2 power, he can place within 2 once per turn. So he's a little bit more maneuverable, and it is a place. And so he could get to a better position to shoot. With his medium base size and a place within 2 and range 5, it means that you're going to actually have to move pretty far away from him to not get tagged twice by the plasma rifle. He can pretty consistently get 2 plasma rifle shots off. Omega level threat is his cool throw that lets very similar to Magneto, lets him spend 1 to 4 power. Does only throws terrain equal to or less than the size of power he spent. Does Magneto's work within 3 as well?
It is
also within 3?
Exactly Magneto's throw, but he can only use his once a turn.
Okay. And it is throw medium, but within range 3 of Cable. Again, one more reason why Cable should, almost always get to stand still and do his thing. He'll be able to affect the board from a long way.
Also, Magneto can throw long. I didn't realize he couldn't throw long.
Okay, yeah, this is throw medium.
A little worse.
We knew about the telekinetic shield as well. It's been 2 power to add 2 defense dice to friendly within 3 if they're being attacked, or himself. And one of the things we did not know, very important, he is also basically an Asgardian. It's called Techno-Organic Virus Suppression, but during the power phase, he automatically gains an additional power. And then he has immunity to poison, super important. I do not know why he has immunity to poison, but he apparently
Everyone has immunity to poison. This is such a dumb
I don't
rule.
understand.
Why is this part of the game?
I do not understand.
They could have made this game better by just deleting the word poison from all references of the game, because they wasted so much ink printing that word, and it basically means nothing. It's such a terrible negative effect, and so many characters have immunity to it. It's like, what the fuck's the point?
It's really weird.
By the way, how is the guy with the disease immune to poison? That doesn't make any sense.
Everything about that doesn't make any sense at all. I don't know. Maybe there's a comic out there where, did you know Cable was immune to all poisons? It's a secondary mutant power. I don't know. I've never seen that.
Also, his eye glows.
Also his eye glows. Yeah. So,
all right.
seems...
Yeah, the telekinetic shield
I want to talk about him all day. Go ahead.
The telekinetic shield is just the same as Doctor Strange's shield, which is what we expected. Techno-Organic Virus Suppression, where he gets 2 power, is obviously good because he can always use his Body Slide by 1. Honestly, he's got a whole lot of words here, but I see a lot of the problem that I see with Thor, and since they're the same point cost, this is, I think, kind of relevant. They basically don't have a go hard mode, they have a go mode. They're very good all the time, but they're never great. He has a lot of cool stuff he can do. And admittedly, he can throw stuff, but it's kind of like Thor. Thor is a very good representation of this guy. He just is always going to hit you for 5 dice twice plus Wild Incinerate, and then he's going to throw something at you, and that's going to be the turn. He is very good, I think, but he lacks the ability to be like, all right, well, I absolutely have to do 6 damage right here. He's screwed. It's very unlikely he's going to be able to pull that off, because he can't, he doesn't have the Warrior of Legend. He doesn't have, Glaive's Edge. He doesn't have Flurry. He doesn't have that ability to go way above his average to try and do something great. But he has a lot of really cool, really fun, really good rules. And so I'm excited to play him.
I'm really excited to play him out of X-Force, actually. I think X-Force will be a fun faction, mostly just because of the flavor of X-Force. I think it'll be fun to put them on the table and play with them. But without seeing their tactics cards and everything they can do, I'm excited to play him actually in, my favorite thing, Avengers. I like stacking up abilities that happen on opponents' turns to really use Cap's ability. Telekinetic Shield. I know it is very similar to Doctor Strange, so you could put Doctor Strange in your list to do the same thing. However, I really like
both.
him. What? Go ahead.
Just do both.
Yeah,
4
you could do
extra
both.
dice on all defense
Yeah.
rolls. Jeremy,
And-
it's happening.
Yep. And so the
Jeremy
fact
is
that
so mad.
the fact that he gets 2 power, and he's going to be cheaper than Doctor Strange to get the power generation that he has. He's always going to have power to do this between his regular rifle. As I've been playing Avengers a fair amount recently, and the list that I'm currently playing would probably just be better with Cable than any combination of 3 and 2-point characters I can think of right now. That being said, he fits into Avengers because what you just said. He's not super flashy. He doesn't go over the top damage. And Avengers is one of those factions that kind of grinds you out. They are a stone that you break against over and over and over and over again. They win by long periods of time, and you not being able to take them down. And Telekinetic Shield popping for 1 power every turn is going to make it so difficult to remove their already difficult to remove characters. Imagining giving, Captain America 4 extra defense dice on his backside, or Black Panther 2 extra defense dice on his front. It's going to be very obnoxious. And the fact that he can do this from behind the faction. And devoting a lot of attention to him specifically is not going to be a cakewalk, which is one of the things that sometimes when you put one guy behind the Avengers and they're like a supporting type character, they may not be contributing any damage or just helping people in the front. And you don't want them close to the fray because you're trying to keep your core of your Avengers squad intact. You win by surviving longer than your opponent can against your erosion of damage. And he's going to be, I think, going to be really, really good at that because of his incredibly long reach and the fact that he's also supporting so well. And the fact that he has a throw, and the faction needs a throw or two. And not that they don't have them, it's just nice that he has that already on his package, and he can do it from range. I think he's going to be
Avengers lack throws out of the really expensive characters.
Right. So I think he slots, like, as soon as I read his kit and then I saw that he got 2 power a turn, I was like, oh my goodness. And I was just like, this is going to be so strong for the Avengers squad, exactly the one I'm playing right now. So that's why I got pumped about him, not because I think he's going to be he's not another Magneto or MODOK for sure, but he does a lot of things. If you want to play kind of a slow, grindy, super consistent game, and you want to see him just do his thing over and over again with a great toolbox, I like it a lot. I am very excited for Cable. I was super didn't care about the fact that all these releases got pushed back. I was like, okay, fine. I have plenty of things to play right now. I haven't played half the characters in this game. But then as soon as I saw those cards, like, oh no, pushed back an extra month. No, I want it now. So Jeremy, now you know why Brandon and I are excited. Why are you unexcited? I want to know. What didn't teacher taught her?
Well, I don't think he added anything new to the game. I think he splashed in things that already exist. He's kind of an amalgamation of different things that are interesting on other characters. And yeah, he does like all of them kind of at the same time. I think he's going to be massively power hungry. I think he doesn't help his own faction very much. The faction bonus kind of sucks. Just rerolling one. I mean, shit, put Zemo in there. Who gives a shit? But I think he's going to land in other factions and be a total nightmare. Again, Avengers is one of them. Give him a bodyguard, or he's like an unkillable motherfucker. Like, he can put himself right back on the point you push him off. The only thing he does not do is he doesn't help you with get a guy off the point. Like, he won't help you score because he can't move anybody. He can kill somebody. He can try and kill somebody. He can do his best, but he simply cannot move a thing. So wherever that lands, who knows? And I love Cable. Like, I've been an X-Force New Mutants fan for like a million years, and I love the guy. I think he's cool. Liefeld drew him up, and he's been a badass ever since. But I like characters that lean really hard into one thing or another. I don't like characters that are kind of like a toolkit. He's a Swiss Army knife, which better players than myself will be able to utilize and do awesome things with, I'm sure. Again, he can become nigh unkillable. Like, I'm certain of it. There's ways and factions to put him in. Put him in Wakanda. Like, put him in Spiders. Like, God help you in Spiders. I mean, it's going to be crazy. But, as an interesting character to play, I like a character that can spend 10 power beating you to death. Like kill two models with 10 power. Like that's what I like. But with 10 power, what can he do? He'll attack twice, throw some shit, and move. He can't make like monster attack, and then move him. I don't know. It's just not my game. But he might appear in a list or two, like as a mercenary in a different list. I wish X-Force had kind of a different kind of leader, but whatever. That's my deal.
I mean, again, they seem to be filling out these factions pretty well, so we might see another X-Force leader. Probably not soon, but it's possible.
It's fine. It's fine. Again,
yeah.
I don't like the fact that they were just kind of like, what's the faction going to do? Oh, let him reroll an attack die. I fucking hate that.
Yeah, that leadership's pretty bad. But that being said, like, I don't know that they actually are known for being like a particularly strong synergy unit. Like, they kind of just are a bunch of good badasses, like, that kind of work together, right? Like,
sure.
Are they known for their teamwork or anything?
I don't know. I guess my point is do something interesting. Like, don't do something that's like kind of like, what can we give you?
Sure.
What can we give you? Here's this.
If they're going to do stuff like this where it's like, well, one attack die per turn is better, I'd like to see it's like pay 1 power to treat 1 die as a critical or something.
Yeah, something
like
cool.
Once per turn or like something cool. Like at least the defenders, like even though their ability is pretty lame, like it's at least cool and interesting. It's like, oh, one of my attacks becomes magical and hexes you, and you're like, oh, that's cool. Like it's something unique. It's like reroll 1 die per turn. It's like, well, that's pretty lame.
You can get that in so many different ways.
Part of it,
yeah.
Or if it was even like the Spider Foes, like I think Spider Foes' ability is better than this. Like rerolling a defense die is way better than rerolling an attack die because the odds of success are not 50%. And so rerolling a die that only has a 3 in 8 chance of working is way better than rerolling a die that has a 50-50 shot. Because rerolling a defense die is like 70% chance of a failure.
Yeah.
And so it's way more efficient than rerolling. Although they have to spend power, this is free. So I mean, the effect is better, the cost is worse.
It's a thing.
But back to what you were saying, I actually appreciate that they're trying to make abilities similar. Like obviously monotony is lame, but I like that the Omega threat, is basically like another power we've seen. It's got some changes for efficiency and effectiveness. But like Telekinetic Shield is just a carbon copy of the Mystic Shielding from Doctor Strange. The additional power is pretty standard. Body Slide by 1 is just literally Gamma Leap from Hulk. And so like there's just like you said, there's copied of other abilities. But I appreciate that if you have a large enough pool of abilities, that's fine if you reuse a lot of stuff. Because I don't want to know, like, I don't want to get to the point in War Machine or where in like 40K and 5th edition where it's like every model had its own unique rule, and every time you play it's like, well, until you play this 4 times you're not going to be able to play against it because it's just so weird. Like, oh, I didn't know you could move your model like that, I guess I lose. Like,
I would rather see
stuff. And so
I would rather see Cable at, I mean, I hate to say it, I'd rather see him at 6 points and then let you reroll 2 dice. Give me something that's fucking like, now that's a leader for you.
When it comes to the leadership ability, I think with how strong he is currently, and I haven't played with him and the developers have, so clearly they know more than I, but personally, I feel like just always rerolling 1 die on all attack rolls would have been fine. I don't see how that's broken. We have reroll defense dice on every defense roll, and you can reroll skulls on all rolls. Like, I don't see how that'd be broken. We haven't. The Cable's the closest thing to broken we've seen in X-Force so far, but even then, I don't think he is. And the reason I don't think he is because of what you said earlier. Is he's going to be extremely power hungry, I think, because he's going to get some power off of attacking, but even if he's getting 4 power a turn off dealing damage, which would be pretty good for a 5 dice attack, he's got a lot of expenditures on power, and because his damage is not very high, it's only like above average, you're going to be using his throw, I think, every time it's available, which will just immediately soak most of that power on your income. So he's not going to be able to be throwing out telekinetic shields everywhere. Even in Avengers, it's going to be a lot easier, but it's not going to be like, well, it's Doctor Strange, everyone gets it. It's like, well, Doctor Strange has 3 attacks that he gets to reroll dice on and generates 2 power It's like, and he also gets power anytime he rolls a block. Like, he has way more power generation than Cable at his best. And so I just, and even Doctor Strange can't always shield people. He just does a decent amount. So I don't think he's going to be able to shield everybody like it sounds like he will be able to. But yeah, I think he's good. I don't think he's bad. I just think there's a lot of options here, and you're always going to want to throw because damage is good. Damage is always king. So dealing more damage is the most important thing.
I think
adding 2 extra defense dice. Go roll 2 defense dice. Let me know how many damage it saves you. Like, it is good, but it's not like perfect. Like, you're probably better off with a healing ability, which is why Doctor Strange is so good, because even if you fail it with the dice, he gets to take the damage off. So
would you say, and I mean, from what we know and see the cards and all that and know of the game, he seems to be one of the most balanced, like, leaders in the game. Like, he's very, very balanced. He kind of really does. He helps. He can touch you from range 5. He can throw some shit at you. Like, he's very, very balanced. Like, you can't take this model off the board in a couple hits either. Like,
yeah, he's pretty healthy.
So, and that's good. That's good for the game. Like, you can tell a player that's, hasn't played very much, try Cable, see how that goes. Because regardless of what happens, you're not going to be able to deal with Cable within 1 or 2 turns. Like, it's going to take you a bit, which is cool. That's cool. It just isn't my deal.
Yeah, I wonder if there's a reason they did 1 die per turn and not just 1 die per attack. I wonder if there was like I guess if Domino has the count skulls as crits and get 1 reroll per attack, that could get out of hand with her efficiency, and maybe that's what they were worried about. But
if they just did all attack,
doesn't seem like that would have been broken, and I feel like that would have been a lot more engaging. I don't know. Basically, I'm looking at like a B- C+ on Cable so far. Like, he seems solid. He's not bad. He's not broken, but I mean, it might be better on the table than in text. So
who knows? And what's funny? As soon as I saw we knew what his leadership ability was, but as soon as I was thinking about Avengers, I don't mind that his leadership ability is so underwhelming because it makes me more happy about putting him in other factions.
Sure, I mean, he's more of a mercenary anyway.
Right, that's what I mean. Like, I feel like I don't mind that he has a subpar one, because then when I put him somewhere else, I'm like, but I'm losing this awesome leadership ability. If you're playing, Captain America, you want to play Avengers too, because that leadership ability can do such cool stuff. So, same thing about Red Skull. Putting Red Skull in another faction could seem kind of strange, because you're like, why am I spending 4 points for this character when their leadership ability is so strong and enables so many cool things in the game? And since Cables doesn't really enable much of anything, I'm totally fine putting this awesome character, because the reason I like his kind of hodgepodge of stuff is I feel like he is a really good example of a 3-point character and a 2-point character kind of rolled together. Like, he's got Rocket's consistent gun, and he's got some cool support abilities that you'd pay 2 points for in a single character, and he's just got them rolled together. And then on top of that, he has that really cool throw. I think the throw is actually on in addition to that, which is why I think his point cost is actually really aggressively low. I do think he's going to be power hungry, but the fact that he gets 2 power a turn, if he starts the first engagement with 4 power in Avengers, I actually don't see him running low very often. I think he's going to get to use his stuff a bunch, unless he's just throwing giant things every turn. But
even if you're only throwing size 2 things, like his as soon as you start throwing every turn, his expenditure is equal to his gaining. And so then you're getting as many telekinetic shields as you deal damage, basically. Half as many as you deal damage. So if he does 4 damage, you get 1 telekinetic shield. Or 2 telekinetic shields. It's like, And that's if you never body slide. It's okay.
So
I don't know. I was immediately looking at playing him in either like Defenders or Cabal to mess with his attack and make it maybe better. And then also, obviously, getting double shields potentially is really abusable.
So I guess one thing that I was thinking about that I don't dig about him is usually when a leader comes out, I always try and think of who you can abuse with the new leadership. And with him, I'm like, who cares?
Man.
Like, it's not that big of a deal. Yeah, really.
Yeah,
like,
no,
it's okay.
Definitely not the problem here.
No. Yeah. So that might be why I kind of like,
Now, it might be kind of like Guardians, where their leadership ability is they have good characters.
Yeah.
Like, really, right? Like,
I could take that.
winging it is great, but at least it's unique. And so it's just like, oh, well, really, the great thing is they've got 5 good characters under 4 points. Like, that's the best thing about that faction. So I'm just brainstorming in my head here. So Avengers list: Cap, Black Panther, Black Widow, Cable, and Doctor Strange at 20 points.
Quit the game.
You've got double
quit.
shielding,
You quit.
double vibranium,
Fucking quit.
and you've got martial arts.
Nope.
Yeah.
It's game over, motherfucker.
Yep.
It would just be funny. I don't know if you'd win a game, but it'd be hilarious. I don't know if anybody would ever die and you just slap fight people.
Just punch yourself in the face.
All right, well, I think we're done with Cable.
Until next time.
Guys,
Until
is that
May.
hour-long news?
Until
I
May.
think that was
We-
an hour-long news.
We said it. We said it was going to be news. This was going to be about.
Yeah, I mean, today's episode's mostly just talking about spoilers.
Yep.
There's been a lot of spoilers because there's not been a lot of releases.
Nope.
Remember in, like, November when we were like, God, there's too many releases. We've had, like, 6 boxes since November.
Yeah.
It's been, like, 4 months. Yeah, I'm actually enjoying the reprieve a bit.
Yeah, it'll be fine. When we get we get that giant wad of releases in May, we're going to be like, okay, cool. We've kind of
Yeah.
figured some
We'll be
I'm
shit
ready
getting
to
out.
tired
do
of
it.
it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so it looks like we're done with the news. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. That's it.
All right. Parker, why don't you tell us about how your list works when you play the right models?
Yeah. So we said it more than once that as it turns out, Black Panther is good, and Ghost Rider and Captain America is a really strong module just there. And so basically, I got to play Jeremy in a game of TTS that he lovingly let me play a grindy Avengers. He said let me because he didn't quit after it was going on for like 2 hours, and we were both ready to quit. We kept going to play it and see what would happen. And I really liked Avengers in this style. And after the game, because the game lasted so long and it was such a grindy list, I do not know if this is the right way to play Marvel Crisis Protocol. Because all the other games I played with Marvel Crisis Protocol, it didn't go down to any wires. Like by turn 4, we knew who was going to win, more or less. But playing this version of the Avengers, basically Ghost Rider but Ghost Rider was doing enough chip damage with his passives, and then he would just penance stare something and it would die. And so basically it was how quickly can Ghost Rider penance stare people to remove them off the board while my opponent cannot kill me because I'm just difficult to manage. And I really like that style of play because it fits the way I like to play games. I like Wonder Woman type lists that take too long to kill, but I do not know if that was the right way to play Marvel Crisis Protocol. And I stared at it. I stared at the concept for a while, a bit after the game, going, is this ever a way to play this game reliably? Because there are characters like Magneto and MODOK that I did not play. Jeremy did not play them this time, and so he had a much harder time. He was playing criminals for those who don't know, but he was playing criminals, and he just wasn't playing any characters that could easily just delete one of mine, and that was of course a problem playing against my list because it was purposely designed to not be deleted. So I don't know if it actually works because as soon as you run into a Magneto, do you just automatically lose because Magneto will one-shot your characters every turn, and so your point of living for a long time just is completely nullified by a single character being in your opponent's list. I don't know.
So to
I guess
answer
I'll have
that,
to play
to
this version of it against someone like that.
To answer that, so yeah, you were playing. I mean, it was an E scenario. You balled up, and I could not crack that nut. Like, I mean, shit. I was up on you like what 13-5 or something on turn 3,
Mm-hmm.
and then I could not get a foothold after that because my list wasn't meant to damage you at all. I had Enchantress in Criminals, and I didn't care what you did. I just took shit away, and then we were also playing the one where you could cash in or murder the civilians and get extra points. So, I mean, I jumped up really quickly, but then when I had to deal damage, I'm like, okay, I'll punch this guy, and you're like, no, you punch Captain America. I'm like, okay. And then Captain was like rolling like a boss, like some sort of fucking mild Jesus on the table. It was
Honestly, Jeremy, that's really my frustration with Captain America. It's not that he doesn't die, it's that you don't get power. Because you never hurt him. So
Yeah.
you never get power back. It just strangles your list. That's why I hate him.
Yeah, and I mean, and every time you do that, Ghost Rider's getting more power and all that. Like, I made some mistakes. Like, I should have played Killmonger a little differently, and There was a few things I could have done that might have done better for me. But to answer your main question, 9-point Thanos plus Magneto on an E scenario, you're dead. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Like
Yeah.
you play an E scenario against that,
cannot
you're
win.
fucking dead. So that list would not have done a thing to it. You would have bounced off it, and you would have
Yeah, if
killed
you're
Ghost
gonna-
Rider, killed.
If you're gonna play the I Live Forever list, you have to have an alternative in your roster. You can't be locked into that because, especially in Kansas City, I don't know what the other metas are like, but there's like a 1 in 3 chance at minimum that you're gonna run into a just like dead on arrival matchup where it's like, oh, my opponent has MODOK and Magneto and Red Skull. It's like I have lost and I haven't even chosen my roster yet. Like it's game over. So like you need a pivot option, like where you can like go into Swarm Avengers or something. There's like, well, I'm just gonna take 8 characters and like run around and collect points. Like you can't lock yourself into that matchup.
But with that said, I mean,
Yeah, the other version.
you knew what I had, and we talked about it, and I didn't have that in my list, so it was perfectly fine. Like you played right into it. I played into what you had, and it was perfectly fine.
I really like Black Panther as a throw-in in the list because he does the same thing that other characters do, which is live a long time. But he could play the objective game. Not having any characters that can play the objective game when you're trying to last a long time is really big mistake. I was about to not play Black Panther at the start of the game, and I was like, wait a minute, I probably need a character that can knock his guys off, or else he's just going to win on scenario. And that was like the decision. It was one of the key decisions in the game. It's just not benching Black Panther. The other list, it's an Avengers. The whole roster is Avengers, and also because Black Panther's in there, and I count on him a lot. There's also 3 Wakandans in there too. Can Wakandans play an objective game against the three elite models? Can that be something they can do, or do they just die also?
I think they die. Now, I don't think you want to play E. That's the key for Wakandans. Don't play E.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, you want to spread out. Their whole faction's around board positioning.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you play a split, and then you're probably fine if you cause those 3 models to split up, and then you can push people around a little bit long enough to survive. Yeah. If the question is in your list and you go, should I play Black Panther? The answer is yes. So you have your top
shout out.
Yeah. So go ahead. Shout out to our
I
listener.
was going to just say shout out to our listener Jordan. The you know who you are. The episode we rated Black Panther, and let's see, what did we give him? He specifically.
It wasn't
called
great.
out.
Yeah.
He said, I guess he didn't tell me the number we gave him. I think we gave him like a 5 or 4.
Yeah.
Like, not a flattering number. But he told me that he would pay 5 points for Black Panther happily, and so he is a big Black Panther fan.
Yeah, I mean, so
And,
like
the more I play him, I think he's right.
we had 2 of, I believe, the top 3 4-point characters in that game. One of them is Enchantress, one of them is Black Panther, and the other one, which is debatable, but I think it's the girl with the hair. I mean, she is legitimately a top
Medusa.
4-point character. Yes, those are your top 4-point characters, and 2 of them were in our game. So, and for reasons you saw, I mean, when you look over and see Black Panther, you say, how do I kill that? And sometimes the answer is simply, I can't. You cannot kill Black Panther. If you don't have the right tools
Just
to do it.
pierce him.
Yeah.
Gotta get through those dice.
Sabretooth and Wolverine are looking and
He
going,
was so
bro,
sad.
ain't us.
Just Sabretooth and Wolverine bouncing off of Black Panther for 3 turns.
It was so
like,
sad.
Please die. It's like you bled him like 9 times. Like, I take 1. Like,
Yeah, it was so stupid.
he's like, but I bled you like so many times. Like, yeah, I still take 1.
And unfortunately, like for me, like just as a side note, for me, until I beat my head against it, I really don't see it. But once I do, like that's kind of how I play the game. Like I have to actually get reps and to see how stupid something is. Like just hearing about it or knowing it, I actually have to like be like, this is some miserable shit, and then do something different next time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Black Panther definitely needs to make more lists as a mercenary, and he's really susceptible to any kind of defensive buff, like Inspiring Monologue, or honestly even Medpack on him. Like giving him just a little bit more gas lets him go for so long.
Mm-hmm.
He got Wong healed once, and then I felt like, okay, well, he'll never die.
Yeah,
he
he's
didn't.
good now.
He dropped
He's
in
never
for
flipped over.
some juice. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the problem is you'll have that turn where you just like blank out and get one-shotted. Like it's just, or not blank out, but you like, there's still plenty of failure
Skulls and
results
hits
on the die. Skulls, hits, yeah.
It happens. Anyway, our game was solid. It was good. It was a good game. It just it lasted a really goddamn long time. Like 6 turns. Marvel Crisis Protocol, 6 turns is not necessary. It really isn't.
Jeremy, you probably would have had a better time if you didn't fall asleep after turn 3 and just like not move your models. You just like stand in the middle of the board.
Again, fucking Killmonger not doing anything was bad. I played him completely wrong, so that was my bad. I will admit to that.
Yeah. You got a little ballsy there. You're like, there's no way he would risk not killing Black Panther or Killmonger, and he's like, Killmonger dies. You're like, shit.
Oops.
This is now much harder.
Well, I also play. I mean, to be fair, I played 5 tactics cards that most of them I don't usually play. I just wanted to try a different kind of thing. So I played a bunch of shit I didn't know how to play. So I was reading the tactics cards as we were playing, going, okay, I can't play that now. Mm-hmm. Okay, I can't play that now. All right, I need to play that. I can't play that now. Like, it was a total bitch.
You just never... Yeah. You were never close enough for Heave Ho to trigger, right? That was the problem.
I was playing 5
Heave Ho. You didn't have the proximity down.
I was playing 5 Heave Hos because you can play up to 5, right?
Yeah, that's the rule. All right, I think that brings us out of currently playing. I don't have anything new to report, so let's move on to our main topic today. Our main topic is Stockwatch. This is the first time we're doing Stockwatch. Basically, we're going to talk about trends we've noticed with different models. We're each going to choose a model that has been trending up or has been trending down, and then say why that has been true. Because as new models are released and new factions are added and people are added to factions, the ability for models to get played in new ways expands, or not played in new ways because they're invalidated. So let's see. Parker, do you want to go first? Would you like me to go first?
I'll go first. That sounds good. So do you want to go trending up first or trending down?
Yeah, let's do trending. I'm trying to think what would be better. Should we be pessimistic or optimistic? Let's be pessimistic first. Let's talk about our trending downs.
Okay.
Yeah. So what's your trending down?
So my first trending down model is.
Whoa! First, you get one, bro. One.
I know. So, sorry. Our first.
You get
my only.
One.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Our first.
You ain't
my
stealing
only.
Mine.
Yeah. Is actually the Incredible Hulk. He, was the best, one of the strongest speeders at the beginning of the game, and then every time they make another character that throws as many dice or more, he just goes down and down and down. And now they even have, now they even have a character that is almost exactly the same as him with his standout mechanic, which is he doesn't flip over with deep health, and she's a leader of a strong faction with a great faction ability, and she's got a higher die base attack, and she's in so many ways stronger than him, more consistent than him. I think the Hulk has been really overshadowed by, curiously, everything smaller than him. I think he's just lost a lot of stock.
Yeah, Hulk has not aged well. If you were to see a graph, it would basically be a small dip up as people learned how to take advantage of his rules, and then basically a sheer cliff of when people realized how to play against him and how to take advantage of the fact that dazing isn't a thing for him. And so it's like, because you have Hulk, you have less characters than me, so I'll just basically wait you out until Hulk has to go, and then I'll just pile damage on him until he dies. And you're like, oh, shit. And then, in addition to that, he's exceptionally susceptible to negative effects like stagger and stun. Luckily, though, he is immune to the strongest negative effect of the game in poison. And so he doesn't have to worry about getting poisoned. Because, if your Hulk got poisoned, who knows? I mean, you have no options. As where if he gets staggered, stunned, incinerated, shocked, rooted, like in all of those cases, you're probably fine. Because, he'll just fight through it. But poison, they made sure that was not the case for you. Meanwhile, other characters are immune to stun and stagger. Why reprint Hulk? He's so bad. All right. Jeremy, no, I'm going to go next. So Jeremy can't steal my character.
Fucking
All right, so my on the way down character is Killmonger. Killmonger was one of the very early releases in the game, and when he first came out, we were like, man, this guy does more damage than anybody. And then that was quickly made not true when Valkyrie came out. And then just more and more characters like Corvus Glaive, Magneto. There's just more and more options for high-end damage dealers. But most of them have the option to deal damage to multiple characters, where this guy is a straight-up one-target assassin, which is really cool and useful. But the need for that single-target assassin is quickly fading out of the meta as people are needing like AoE attacks or flurries and all kinds of cool stuff. He still has a lot of things going for him. He's just not on the pedestal he once was. He's probably about middle of the pack for like top tier damagers now. And so he's just not where he was. He's fallen a bit.
Mm-hmm.
maybe he's one of the only, he's one of the only ones that can get you a victory point by killing somebody or doing anything to them. I mean, that's pretty significant.
True. But that's a tactics card in addition to his cost, and it's very restricted. It is good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he can't go in, like, if there's two people attacking him, he's screwed, because he can't kill them both. Like, he can kill one of them, but he's probably not going to kill both unless you get exceedingly lucky. He has no extra attacks, he has no throws, he has no board manipulation. He's just click damage, and even Valkyrie, who is not much later released than him, has at least the option to throw people and things. So he's just very static in his ability to just point at someone and do a lot of damage with two actions.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I think he's still a good character. So Jeremy, why don't you tell us about your trending down character?
Trending down. Unfortunately, one of my favorite characters, Rocket, his stock is sinking. Every time they release a 2-point model, he gets worse. Like, he's very, very killable.
Crazy,
one of the best things about him is you take his 3-point attachment, which is Groot, which kind of does nothing, but kind of does everything. Like, being able to heal the entire world and heal him and bodyguard and all this shit. And it's one of the best attacks in the game when they combine. You play a tactics card and blow up the world. Like, it's really, really good. But every time they release a 2-point model, whether it be Nebula or Bob or whatever, 2-point models tend to be the I need it to fill a 17-point, an 18-point, whatever. It's kind of a niche situation. But yeah, that's my opinion. I think he's great.
Know, I still feel like Rocket's the best 2-point model. Now, there are becoming more and more options, because if you don't just want raw damage for 2 points, then yeah, I mean, Wong is another option, even if he is very different.
I also don't think...
I will actually agree.
I just to counteract that, I think a lot of times what you're not looking for is damage from Rocket. Rocket almost never kills anybody. Rocket usually hands out a lot of power to your enemy. Technically.
Well, I mean, by that justification, everyone on your team hands out power to the enemy, but...
Not Wong.
Not Wong, exactly.
No, Wong does when he takes damage. Wong gets shot in the face, he's like, here's power. Like,
but he's only giving out 4. I'm with
yeah.
I'm with Jeremy. I think I actually... when I'm building lists now, unless I'm not building a Guardians... If I'm building a Guardians list, Rocket is such an include. But...
Well, sure.
Because he's not, I'm not reaching for him off the shelf anymore when I'm thinking of, strong 2-pointers that are, my 2-point slots, I'm usually thinking of them as a support piece. I want them supporting me. I actually was staring at the game we just played yesterday going like, if I would have been firing gunshots off with Rocket that whole game, would it have made it better or worse? And I was like, actually, I think worse. I think Wong being in the list enabled so many more things for my key characters than Rocket being in there.
You were building a tank list, like you wanted survivability over damage. So yeah, obviously that was a better choice. But I guess saying that he hasn't really been like usurped by anybody, right? Like he's still the 2-point damage dealer even after Bob comes out. I think that's true. Now Bob will give you diversity of option for damage dealers for 2 points, but
I don't know.
I don't know. I
think Nebula does the job
Rocket's
just as
still
good.
Very viable.
Nebula does the job just as good.
Nebula has the inability of interacting with scenario, and she has to expose herself to deal damage. Rocket can just kind of sit in the back, and like he's usually either the last one to die, or you have to expend a lot of actions to
Mhm.
get to him. Is how I feel.
I feel like Rocket was my point and click guy. Like, what do I need? I need a 2-point in here just in case. And it was just a point and click, no thought needed. I'm like, he's great. And then all of a sudden, I'm learning about
Yeah.
Okoye. I'm like, oh shit, she's pretty good. And then you learn about all the other guys and how
Mhm.
your list works, and you're like, maybe Rocket's not always the answer.
So let's see. What was the 2-point options when Rocket was released? Was it Black Widow
Yup,
and Okoye? Those were the only 2 options. There was only 3 2-pointers
yup.
when he came out.
I think so.
So now we've gotten Wong
There's like 7.
and
Nebula.
Nebula. Well, Nebula came out at the same time.
Yes, you're right.
Um,
Bob will be.
It's mostly just Wong. Wong's the only new 2-pointer, isn't he? Am I crazy? I think he's the only new 2-pointer.
think you're
So yeah,
right.
when Bob comes out, there'll be Toad. Toad's the other one. Yeah,
I
Toad
think-
totally supplanted Rocket as the king of 2-pointers.
I mean, I think Toad is way better than
just,
Rocket.
just kidding. Don't play Toad. What?
No, you're wrong.
Oh my god.
I think you're wrong.
Okay, so for the record, the hierarchy is Rocket, Toad, Cable. Get it straight. That's the order.
And you're correct on that.
Mm-hmm. All right, moving on. So I disagree with Jeremy's, but I can understand that you have a point of view. He's certainly not auto include because it's not like Black Widow and Nebula and him anymore, which he was obviously the best. So now that there's an actual support option, yeah, I enjoy support models. So I tend to put Wong in more lists than Rocket, but Rocket wasn't getting played in those lists unless he was actually needed. And yeah, obviously if you're playing like Shuri in your list already, well then Rocket's probably less of a good option. Or sorry, Wong is a less good option because you've already got support. But if you don't have any support, then yeah, adding Rocket to a list with 0 support is probably not a great idea.
Mhm.
All right, so moving on to our ascending models, our models on the uptick. Parker, why don't you give us your ascending model?
We actually already talked a lot about him in this game, and I don't know if this is just
It's Cable, isn't it?
I don't think
Cable.
maybe it's not trending up. It's just because of
Bye, Cable. Fuck you, Parker.
I wish I had one of those buttons. Ooga, like just the soundboard to make it really ridiculous. I think that I actually think at least it's new to me because a lot of us kind of disregarded him as just a defensive model. And what else does he do? And my trending up is Black Panther.
Yeah.
And I think it's because Black Panther is a lot more. He was just the Wakandan. You took him because you needed the Wakandan leader, and now we're realizing that there are so many new factions. We just talked about it today. They keep adding in options for whole factions to be objective based, right? Criminals,
Web Warriors.
Spider Friends. I can't think of Web Warriors.
Spider Friends.
Spiders.
Spider Friends. Web
Makes
Warriors. Criminals. Sin is going to have her objective-based thing to added to Cabal. We're getting so many objective-based additions to the game, and a character like Black Panther who can right now come in and just say no to so many of those objectives. And he does it automatically as long as he gets there, and he has speed long, so he can go gather things and mess with your opponent's objective play, and auto push on both of his abilities. And then he himself is so difficult to remove; you can't one-on-one him reliably in that flanking or key crucial point that you're trying to battle over. He is 4 points that already in several games. He's 4 points that he won. He didn't win the game for me. He just stopped me from losing because I played Black Panther. And I would not have said that's what Black Panther does, when I started playing this game, before there were so many objective-based factions. I think his stock has gone up because of that.
Yeah. I think more so the stock going up for him is true because we're finally giving him a chance. But
Yeah,
I respect the meta change to more aggressive scenario play as well. Because obviously when we first started the game, it was just, mosh pits. It was just like, where's the mosh pit going to be in this game? Probably still in the middle, because that's where everyone meets. It's like, well, if they have Hulk, then the mosh pit is slightly closer to their side of the table because he's slower. You're like, that was basically how we determined where we were going to fight to the death. And so now we do a lot more intricate scenario play. Like, what are these blue things? Do they do stuff? And like, that's basically how we play now. So my trending up model, you guys are going to love this. I'm going to get roasted for it. MODOK.
You're a fucking idiot.
MODOK is trending up. He's going straight to the
Jesus
tippy top.
Christ. Jesus Christ.
So in
You know
my
what I like?
justification,
Candy. I like cake and candy because it's delicious. Fucking idiot.
Jeremy, you should know. You should know that I don't like cake
Oh my
because
god.
it's dry. Anyway, I like ice cream cake, which is what MODOK is. He is ice cream.
Oh,
I
agree.
But the reason I think MODOK is trending up is because I think we've figured out that they realized MODOK was a mistake and that MODOK should not have been printed. And I think that's true. Like, I think if they could take it back, they would. And they would change something about him to make him less broken. Probably the force field thing. But I think the reason he's trending up is because we have, I think, realized as a game, we will never see this model again. There will never be another MODOK. Where it's just like, yes, he's always amazing. There's no question he is ridiculous. And so MODOK is trending up for me because we've realized that he is the gold standard. I don't even think inside of like a reasonable amount of time we will even see power creep get to his point. I think MODOK is going to be the standalone ridiculous model of the game. Like, look at Cable, look at MODOK. These are not equal models. Agreed?
Mm-hmm.
They're not even close. It's like MODOK's basic attack strictly better than Plasma Rifle. MODOK's special attack strictly better than Asani's Son. Like, all of his special rules better than Cable special rules. The only even close to question on the card is Omega level threat better than All the World is Weapon to MODOK. That's the only question. And honestly, it's probably not. Because the odds of you having a size 4 piece of terrain that you're within 3 of, that you're also within medium of an enemy, and want to spend 4 power versus the 2 power for MODOK to throw long at range 3 is just like, I would probably take the MODOK one in most situations. So your argument is that Cable's immune to poison. Like, that's his leg up on MODOK. And it's like, yeah, go to hell. Like, no one cares. And so that's why MODOK's on the uptick for me. It's like, it's just more confirming that he's the best aggressive model in the game.
So I think
I can see your point that, yeah.
As models get released, we get to find out what the game is supposed to be about. And then, because like Black Panther and MODOK were kind of early releases, so we get these toys and we're like, okay, well, we have a long mover that kind of auto pushes, and okay, that's cool, but how important is that? And then we get other models that like only push on wilds and like are medium move or short. I mean, and then you get MODOK who gets all this crazy shit and all these effects that you're like, oh, that seems pretty good, but I mean, where's the game going?
Yeah.
So yes, and I mean, you guys are absolutely right. Like, every day the game comes out, they don't recreate these models. They do something kind of similar, kind of neat, kind of like it, kind of, sort of, but you pay a cost. These guys do this shit for free. Like, wow.
The perfect translation is look at Magic the Gathering. Most gamers have played Magic at some point in their lives, or at least know about it. Like, MODOK is the Black Lotus of this game. And it's not that he's broken and he's unplayably strong. It's that they have realized the issue and they will never do that again. This is, like, if you go back and look at, like, the people talk about the old cards in Magic, like Beta and Alpha and Unlimited, are, like, really, really expensive. Part of that is collector's value. But when you look at it, it's like, if you actually looked at, like, the Beta set, the most valuable set in Magic, and you looked at it and you're like, which cards of these would get played in Standard today? And it's like 20. 20 of the 200 cards in the set would get played today. 9 of them are in the Power 9, and the rest of them are basically dual lands. Everything else in that set was basically hot garbage. Because, like, Flying Man costs 3, 1/1, and you're like, this is completely unplayable, because they figured out that the value is the things that they needed to restrict, which was mana increase, like burst mana in 1 turn, and card draw. So, like, Ancestral Recall, 1 mana, draw 3 cards. They're never doing that shit again. They figured out that's not okay. Because we now are more educated as a community and as a design team. And so we know that, like, you know, Bow to the Will of MODOK, probably not okay just for free on a damager. Like, it should probably be kept to support models. And then also, like, a 6-die basic attack that gains power, spends power to reroll, and has sap power. Like, notice how many times we've seen this attack repeated? Literally never, because it was like, oops.
Range
like,
4!
Yeah, range 4.
For the love of God!
Mystic damage, spend 1 power to reroll 1 die any number of times, and then also sap power. Like, there's just too much on one model. And then also, like, wilds don't count on damage. See how many times we've seen that reprinted? Remember all the other models that have Psychic Force Field? Oh, wait, no, because they realized it was fucking crazy strong? Like, yeah, there's a reason we don't see these effects repeated. And meanwhile, Cable, we just talked about everything on his card is repeated. And, like, well, no one's copying MODOK outside of his, you know, Mind Stone ability. Which clearly they liked, so they've reprinted in other places, but you notice it's never on, like, Magneto. Like, Magneto can't just push people away when he wants to. Like, he has to, choose when to do it, and he doesn't get all this other stuff.
I was gonna say they replaced it, but then they also made it cost you 2 more points to put on the character that they already balanced to make sure they could take it safely.
Yeah.
Oh, is Mind Stone 1? Okay,
Mind
1
Stone
more point.
1.
It still costs half a 2-point model. It still costs half a model to put him on.
Parker,
something.
you can remember it like this: all the Power Stones cost 1, except for the Haley factor, which is time and space cost 2.
I see.
Yeah. You want to be the master of time and or space, going to cost you 2 threat. But yeah, so I think that's the important thing to look at, is that as we get into games, there's the legacy stuff that was like the really, really old original cards, which were like usually affect the game on a fundamental level, like resource management or card draw or things like that. And they're always way more powerful than the stuff you're dealing with now. Like, Yu-Gi-Oh's another example. Remember, like, Pot of Greed, when it came out, it was like draw 3 cards, discard 2. And you're like, what? Like that card was immediately banned. Like, it's like, we can't have this. Like you gotta stop that. Like, so that's usually where they get a little loose with the resource management, is usually in the very early sets, and they rein it in later. And that old stuff is the powerful things. I think MODOK is that to this game. I think he's the gold standard of rules combined in one place. He has 10 health on the front. Remember all the characters that have 10 health on the front and get dazed? Oh, wait, it's MODOK. And then, like, Force Field, you know, spend power to reroll any dice, you know, sap power, mystic, move, throw. Like, he does everything. He does literally everything you want to do.
And to me, honestly, like, when I look for a leader of... I want the excitement that MODOK brings to the table. Like, that's what I'm looking for with Cable. Like... You know,
fun, engaging, interactive models,
yeah, it does all kinds of cool shit that changes the game. Not like, you know, like really hard to kill and kind of does some shit. Like, I don't, okay, whatever.
I think Doctor Strange is another good one, but Doctor Strange has a much higher learning curve than MODOK because he doesn't have the, like, click button removal damage.
Well, Strange can accidentally die. Like, that's the problem with Strange.
Yeah, that's the problem with MODOK. Is MODOK can't accidentally die. Like, it's so hard to remove MODOK without really, really trying.
Yeah, count how many times one character does 10 damage to anything. Never.
Oh, it happened once. I can't even remember who it was. It was Jason attacked my MODOK, and he basically just melted. Like, it was like 3 attacks total, and MODOK died. I was like, I don't even know what to do. I didn't even have a plan for if MODOK died. Like, the game is over. It's like, I didn't think it was even possible, let alone, like, you were gonna do it.
Everyone get over here. Everyone get over here. Look at this.
We've gone too long on my MODOK, but basically, if you're looking at a stock picture, and it's like all the stocks, like, MODOK is holding steady near the top, but then all this new stuff comes out, like Thanos and Magneto and all these other cool characters, and it kind of like gets muddled around, and then just slowly MODOK separates from the pack. I think that's basically what I'm saying. It's like MODOK has just been officially reestablished to be the best attacker in the game. And I don't think that's going to change anytime soon.
I agree.
Jeremy, you're up. What's your going up model?
I think every time a new faction gets released, Taskmaster goes up in value. I think that he makes things work. He makes things comfortable. You don't have to take the 1 or 2 shitty models, or the 1 or 2 models that kind of make you say, I don't really like this faction so much, but I like the ability. When Taskmaster first came out, it was like, he's really good, he's cool. But now that there's several extra factions that have come out, it's like, okay, but I still want to take MODOK, or I still want to take Magneto, or I still want to take... basically what I'm saying is, if you want to put a 5-point model that's not a part of your faction, you almost always have to throw a Taskmaster in there, because there's some sort of...
Or that needs to be a good faction.
Yeah. Like, there's a hurdle you have to jump over. And usually it's the tax of having to use your faction.
So just to clarify, are you saying that it's just Rogue Agent, or that because Taskmaster is such a self-contained package of synergy on his own, that like any addition to him puts him to the point of a very quality model? Or is it just that he's a rogue agent?
I
Because
think
like obviously in like when we first noticed it, I think it was in X-Men with Storm, and
Mhm.
Storm letting Taskmaster move for action economy and get delivered with cover meant that he was always going to be a problem, because he's always getting there. He's usually
Yeah.
at full health when he does,
So,
and a Taskmaster that gets there is a problem.
I think both. I think he fixes the faction problem in that you can use him and then put models in you want, and also anything additional on Taskmaster makes him a 4-point model easy. He is so solid. His ability to stick around, his extra things he can do, his defense, his attack. I mean, he goes in super attack mode. Like, he's way
Yeah.
better at attacking than a
Mhm.
lot of 4-point models in the game. Yeah, he's just one that every time a faction
Yeah.
comes out, I think he gets better.
Yeah, I remember playing him in Defenders and having Doctor Strange behind him to like always roll, 5 defense dice is really funny.
Yeah.
Because he's got martial arts. You're like, oh, I'll attack this guy. It's like, Doctor Strange spends 2, so he's got 5. He's like, oh, okay. And then he hits me, and I'm like, all right, I take 0, counter strike, you take 1. He's like, oh, okay. I'll attack you again. It's like, all right, well, he gets 5 dice anyway this time. And then also my counter strike is 6 dice, you take like 3. And he's like,
Yeah.
oh, like, why am I attacking this model? Like, I'm
Yeah.
wasting my time.
And that's actually when you played Taskmaster against me yesterday, Jeremy. The whole time I did not do an attack against him until the last attack.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last attack of the game was the first attack I did against him, because I was just like, I don't want to start attacking this guy. It's
Mhm.
just going to be painful, and I'm
Just
not going to
annoying.
do anything. Yeah. He is. I agree with you, Jeremy. Every time they print a new team ability, Taskmaster gets better, because he's going to get better with every team ability that he sees. Yeah, I like
Which
that.
is funny because that's kind of how Taskmaster works in the comics. So it's like
Yeah.
every time he gets more like techniques that he can learn, like he gets better and better. So it's like you're just adding more to his pool.
I see what you did there.
He's like
I see what you did
Sylar.
there.
He's just gonna keep
Yeah.
stealing shit from people.
Yeah.
All right, so Parker, did you really want to do Comic Corner, or I think we're gonna wrap it up unless you're
No,
super excited.
Nope.
We can skip it. All right.
Yep.
So we're gonna cut it. We're gonna bring him back next time for more time. Also, Will Pagani, we're sorry we couldn't have you join today. We didn't have time. So we're gonna wrap it up. This has been Brandon.
And Parker.
And Jeremy, or Taskmaster, as they call me on the forums.
Thank you for listening to Brandon Was Right.
Oh my
There
god.
you go.
I got it.
Or can we do Parker was wrong?
No,
Damn
Brandon
it.
was right. Every time I hear the phrase Panther, I think of the scene from Ron Burgundy where
Sex
he
Panther.
Yep.
Sex Panther, when he puts it on and he's
It's called
like,
Anchorman.
that smells like gasoline.
I'm gonna be honest with you. That smells like pure gasoline.
Bigfoot's dick.
Stings the nostrils. It sounds like someone filled a used diaper with Indian food.
Oh my god.
Jeez.
That is one of the
That
best
is-
parts of the whole movie.
Yeah.
Where he opens it, it even has the baby panther head come out.
Yeah.
It fucking lifts up. Oh my god.
That quote, 60% of the time, it works every time, has perforated through all of culture at this point. Like,
Oh.
anytime someone references a success rate, they go 60%, like, instantly that quote is used. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
if people have even seen the movie.
Yeah.
Hey, Parker, I do have a special treat for you today. I've been working on my impressions,
Oh, God.
and so I'm going to show you my Parker impression of Parker doing a podcast. You
Oh,
ready?
jeez.
Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right, here we go. What's up?
Do I eat crunchy
Are we
this?
recording?
Do I eat crunchy stuff?
You eat ice chips!
Oh,
You son of a bitch!
yeah.
Are you pregnant, Parker?
No, he just likes chewing on water.
Oh.
I like different states of matter. What can I say?
In your mouth.
In my
Mostly in and about your mouth.
mouth. Yeah.
Moisture. It's the essence of life.
Mm-hmm. I will If I've done that while recording, I try not to do it like when we're podcasting, but if I've done it, I will.
I see you come back with a cup of ice sometimes. I'm like,
Oh,
what are
no.
you doing? Like,
No, it's just this is mostly water, but there is
no,
ice in it.
not now. It's usually like right as like you're like, hey, I have to go grab some water. Like we're wrapping up, and you like come back with a cup of ice chips. I'm like, what
Oh.
is he doing?
They're just Crunchers potato chips. They're just the ones that are fried in peanut oil.
I like
They're
corn.
the crunchy
I
ones.
like
just
corn
has-
nuts. Corn nuts.
Corn nuts.
He just has a little like box next to his desk that he likes to smash glass into. He's like, is this distracting you? And you're like, what are you doing? All right, do
Nothing,
we really
I'm
want to
just-
do this weird segment we're never going to do again?
What is it?
Okay.
Your segment about the
It's
meta.
not mine. I just said, like, I don't know.
It was
Fuck.
a fairly good idea for a short topic.
Maybe.
Well, I don't like one shot topics. I like things that like we can reuse later on. And so if we could like we have a couple topics we've talked about meta changes and stuff before, but we've never done it from the prospect of like basically like stock watch, like who's up, who's down, like over the last like so many months.
I do like Stockwatch kind of concepts. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's just my personal feeling. Do we want to call it that, just like Stockwatch, and bring that back and forth? I like that idea.
Yeah, you can put that in, I guess. I'm
Stonks.
sure it's copyrighted. On the plus side, Ebony Maw can't get much lower, so he's just holding even at 0 value.
He's been doing poor to very poor. I'd hate for like Reddit users to get involved because then all of a sudden people would be playing him and it'd be awful for a minute. And then all of a sudden he'd go
Do
back
what?
to the garbage.
Oh, you're saying because Reddit would break the
Yeah,
size.
it'd be fucked up. People talk about how good he is.
We need more news.
There's kind of
There's
a
so much
lot.
news.
Can we post the pictures of the cards to the podcast channel so we can reference them while we're talking?
Sure, I thought we had them in the. Oh, you mean not in the general channel, in the podcast channel?
That
I
way
think I
they're
could
just
do
all
that.
together.
I think I can do that. Let's see if I can do that. Is this going to be teeny tiny though?
Well, but you can just click the button and
Huh.
it'll bring up the original image.
Yeah, what is going on? Can you guys hear me?
Mm-hmm. I can hear you.
hear you.
Oh wow. Sorry, my computer is.
Dying.
No, I don't understand what's going on. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, I do not know what's going to happen. I don't know. We'll find out.
What is happening on your end?
I'm gonna try to do it this way. I
He
think this is
copied
really
and pasted
good.
his hard drive,
I
and now
can-
it's going to put it online.
Let's see what happens.
You say that, but he's basically done that before.
Um,
He was just like he just clicked backup on his desktop
Yeah.
on what was it, Dropbox? He tried to upload his hard drive to Dropbox.
Oh, God.
And his computer just like froze for 30 minutes.
you know how when you're clicking on install things and you're just like, yes, fuck, I don't care.
No.
I went way too fast, and one of the boxes was copy whole hard
Would you like
drive
to
or something
back
like
up your
that,
hard drive?
and I was like,
Yeah.
oh,
Oh,
fuck.
my God.
Would
I
you like to back up your data? And
Yeah.
he said yes. And they just
I
like
clicked-
upload.
Yeah,
It's
and
like
I
this
was-
solid box. of
4
info.
hours later,
It's
it
trying
was still
to press through this little hole.
Oh, my God.
no bueno.
And so it was just like, but it was so backed up that every time he tried to get it to stop, he would just go into Dropbox and delete the item
Yep.
Oh,
instead of trying. So every time someone would upload, he would delete it. So then he has to erase the data.
Oh, my
It's just
God.
like all of his files were like caught between Dropbox and his hard drive, and it was just a mess.
It was terrible.
It was pretty awesome. Because he's sharing his screen while he's doing it, so I could walk him through it. I'm just like, what's happening? It's just like
you're like-
watching his computer eat itself.
and you're like, and the funny thing was, it was eating its own tail because it was trying to delete Dropbox as it was getting my whole computer. So at one point, my computer was like, "You can't delete that; it's your whole hard drive." And I was like, "No, it's not my hard drive; it's a copy of the hard drive." Like, are you sure? And I was like, "I don't know at this point. I might be deleting everything. I don't know.
Would you like
So
to
I still have
I was
upload-
like,
copies.
Parker, it's
I
okay.
still-
yeah.
We'll just.
I still have copies of things."
It
yeah,
would
I
have
still
been
have copies of
faster
things
to
on
just
my
drive to
computer.
Micro Center and buy a new hard drive and come back.
It was
you
it
like
was
to
pretty
took
bad.
so
upload
Okay.
long.
to the cloud? Would you like to copy the cloud and download to yourself? Would you like to copy, then download? Yeah, for sure. Yes. Yes.
Yes, all.
Yes,
Complete.
all. Would you like to use Wi-Fi and update your phone with every file you own? Yes.
Okay, I think we're ready for news. I think I'm ready.
Okay. God, I'm crying now.
I got your
Great.
videos in there.
Cool. Ooh. Yeah, I got caught by a software thing today. I was installing a data pack for a game today, and it wasn't working. I'm like, why isn't this working? So I pulled up a YouTube video on like how they did it, and they got to the end. He's like, you see how this is a zip file? And I was like, yeah. So you have to extract it. Obviously, he's like, don't extract it. Just put it in this file, and the game will figure it out. I'm like, what? Like, that has never once happened to me in the history of gaming that you didn't have to extract a file. It's like, yeah, just put it here, and the game will unzip it every time it needs to use it. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, but if you unzip it and you extract the files, it won't know how to operate with that. You're like, I was like, what? Like, how the fuck? Like, who designed this?
It'll use it when it needs it, and also, we'll turn your TV
They'll
on
figure
when it
it
gets
out.
bored, and control your your refrigerator. That's electronic. Like what? Okay, so what topic are we actually going to do then? What are we doing?
We're gonna do the thing you said.
Okay.
Stalk watching.
Yeah.
Okay,
Do you not remember that?
I guess.
We never changed it. We just changed the name
Okay.
of it, I guess.
All right.
So what are we doing, Parker? We're each coming up with a character that has gained, and then also a character that has lost through meta changes.
Yep.
Okay. All right, hold on. I gotta write mine down in secret so you guys don't steal it.
In secret. Oh my
Well,
god.
I mean, I can't have you guys stealing my shit.
Don't be stealing it. Don't be fucking copying.
And this is also like, I think we can preface this with this is our opinion and stuff. Like,
No, it's fact.
I don't know enough about. I don't know enough about the general meta to actually say I've seen a lot of this character show up more often. But I feel
do.
like this character's gain power.
Everybody else is wrong. We are right. Wait. Hot take. Gamora's still shitty.
Still, but I don't think that counts, right? Because she hasn't lost power.
No, that's true. That's true. She's maintained. Exactly.
Every time a character that is 4 points or less is released, she goes down a point. Because that's just another option. So if you chose your list at random, you're still getting better. Ooh, Hydra's on MCPDB. Hot sauce. I don't know what to think of Bob, Agent of Hydra. I feel like this is a character you have to see on the table before you get like a power level.
Let's
for him.
let's talk about him. Let's talk about it later.
I'm just talking.
There's so much news.
News.
I'm looking
Okay,
for my
I
got
did-
mine.
Lost.
I got mine. Don't you fucking copy either. You know what I was looking at. You saw the reflection of my
What'd you
eyes.
put?
You were looking.
Yeah. Well, no, I saw the reflection of your computer screen in your eyes of the reflection of your eyes off the reflection in your phone.
You son of a
That's how I
bitch.
saw it. It was the double whammy.
God
yeah,
damn it.
The 5 reflections.
That
is
guy's
how I
good.
got it.
That guy's good. I'm going to give it to him.
That would be funny.
All right, I'm going to do a wine refill, and then are we about ready? Are we close?
I don't know. Maybe.
So, I mean,
I'm just looking for one more character. I got one of them. I
oh
gotta
shit,
find
we need
another
two? Oh,
No, you know, you need one going up, one went down.
okay.
one. Yeah. I need one of each. I only have one right now.
Okay, I have both, but I'm gonna do a refill while you're doing that, so we can go.
Man, there's an easy one I could just take, but I feel like you sons of bitches are going to take it.
And remember, if someone names your guy first, you have to come up with a new one.
I ain't coming up with shit. I'm going to name it
You
and
know
then
that.
actually give the real reason why you were wrong and I was right and how I was first.
Ooh, this is a good way to do this. I mean, there is a super obvious answer to one of these.
I wonder if it's the one I'm thinking of.
Well, I'm putting it down because I don't think you guys are going to name both of the downs, and I'll just go last.
Yeah, I've got a couple. We're okay now. I think I'm good. I don't know, but the fact that Crossbones is brought up in current meta is fucking nuts to me. Like, why can't we let that fucking thing just die? Can we just let that die on the vine and just die forever? Like,
Yeah, I don't know. This clearly was planned way a long time ago, but it
Like
does
a year
feel
and a
like
half.
Crossbones was a huge miss. So, like, like that was a model that certainly didn't age well, and I don't know if them trying to bring him back is going to do anything.
You have a slow
I
model
do
that
think
gets to
that they're
activate.
trying to.
Okay, go, buddy.
They're trying to pivot. They're trying to pivot Cabal to a more numerous list that will play more than like 4 models, and so
Yeah.
obviously
a
in
wide,
that situation,
faction.
double activations is a big deal. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
All right, she's gonna go. Okay, now she's done. Now Crossbones is gonna go. All right, now he's done. Now you go. Like I don't know what the fuck that's supposed to be.
So if you have little virgin earballs, you should turn the podcast off now, because now we're going to talk about WandaVision.
Oh shit!
So if you haven't finished the WandaVision season finale, you should stop listening until you do, then come back and finish listening. Or
How
not.
does that
I mean,
work?
you've already downloaded it. I really don't care at this point, but hopefully you enjoyed it.
Fuck them. They already got it. They already spent all their hard-earned
Yeah.
money.
Well, if you don't listen to the rest of this episode, I'll start doing ads. No, I won't. I
Oh
hate
God.
this. I think it's stupid that podcasts have ads. Now maybe I'm just crazy, and that it's actually very lucrative to have a
Listen.
podcast that has ads on it. But I can't imagine that the amount of money that Manscaped is willing to pay us, so to say Manscaped in like 4 times an episode,
Listen.
is worth
Manscaped.
the negative of my listeners having to listen to stupid fucking ads. I listen to a decent amount of podcasts, and Manscaped is like all over the place. It's like Manscaped and his. It's basically if your
Hims.
dick doesn't work and you don't have hair.
Yeah.
Like that's how you need to get money. Is like you need to go like to this website and then they'll give you money.
Guys, I've
Anyway.
been hoping to talk to you about Hims and what it has done for me.
Yeah. Anyway, though, yeah, I can't imagine. I can only like for the amount of listeners we get. I expected like you get $1.40 an episode. It's like I would pay $1.40 for my listeners not have to listen to ads.
We
Like,
could make
I don't understand how this is valuable to people.
for every ad they do, we had to do an additional ad that's not,
Not
a real ad.
yeah,
Like,
not everyone can be PewDiePie. Calm down.
Yeah.
Like your thing's not going to fucking explode, and you're going to be a millionaire overnight. Like calm down.
send
Yeah,
money.
like the amount of like YouTube, I think actually gives noticeably better returns than like podcast ads. I might be completely wrong because I haven't even looked at the numbers. But we had in L2 Wargame, we had 1,500 subscribers, and we had. I told Parker about this last time. We had over 50,000 hours watched on our channel, and we had like $213 over 10 years. It's like how is like that doesn't even buy one camera set.
That's like
what
2
the
cents
fuck?
an hour.
Like and they're like, oh, you guys are getting rich. Like it's like it costs me so much money to do this. Like we do this because we want people to enjoy it.
Mm.
You drank more than that
Yeah.
tonight. I mean, come on now.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. I mean, I've drank more than that at Adepticon. Like I remember the first night of Adepticon, I had 1 bottle of Purtle Mead, I think 9 Angry Orchards, and 6 Boulevard Wheats. And then I blacked out in the board game room at like 9:30. And then I woke up in my room at 4:30. I don't know how I got there or what I did in between, but boy, that was the night.
So apparently WandaVision isn't going to have a second season. Like it's just kind of done. They're
I
gonna-
believe it was intended to be a one-shot, yeah.
Yeah, which is fine. I'm good with that. That's cool.
Yeah, each of the stories will be continued in some other place.
Yeah. Like Doctor Strange 2, The Dark Dimension.
Which won't be released until fucking next year.
Okay, so Parker, I was so amazed that you randomly picked the comic that WandaVision is based off of the week that WandaVision came out. That was like on point. Like I
Yeah.
can't believe you did it. I thought he was trolling us so hard. And I was just like looking at Jeremy like this bitch is fucking with us. Like this guy is just acting ignorant like a dumbass. He's gonna
Nope.
make us look stupid.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, do you guys ever recall them referring to her as the Scarlet Witch pre-WandaVision canon?
And not one moment in the entire MCU did they ever say the word Scarlet Witch until Agatha said that in the end of that
Did
episode.
you check, or like that's people have looked into it?
Yeah, people have looked into it. They can't find a single reference to
Huh.
it anywhere in the MCU.
I guess that's clever. I wonder if that was intentional the whole time. Or I wonder if that was
Yeah, I don't know.
partially their deal with Fox, that because Fox had the rights to the mutants, that they wouldn't use
Right.
the name Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, they can
They
only
would just
call
say,
her by
"Oh,
her.
it's Wanda Maximoff," and it's not technically,
Yeah, but
Yeah,
at what
there's
also-
point?
yeah,
why would they
and
call
then
her?
the fact that-
yeah, why would they
Go
even use that word or name except when it was named out of when she did it? I mean, it was pretty perfect, right? Like, it wouldn't have made
Yeah,
sense.
because she didn't think she didn't have any idea that she was a conduit for any sort of magic. And everyone always referred to her. Even in the series, they say she has telekinetic and telepathic powers. Like she, mind control, mind manipulation, and telekinesis. That's what her powers are. And in every one of the in all the MCU stuff, she never uses a matter manipulation or reality warping. She broadcasting electromagnetic radiation, warping. She never uses any of those powers, which we now know they were just spells that she didn't have to cast. She just can do them because she's the Scarlet Witch, which is, by the way,
she's kind of like
that's
a
not
warlock
at all
instead of a wizard.
right.
Good.
And that's entirely MCU stuff. There's absolutely nothing in the only thing like it in the MCU, and I mentioned this, I can't remember when I mentioned this to you guys, but they actually mentioned at one point in a commercial, one of the the commercial breaks in Wanda's show. They say, try if you want to get away from your realities, you'll try Nexus, because they did say that Wanda is a Nexus being, which means she's just like an intersection of multiple realities and cosmic creatures and powers that are like fundamental to mystical and the physical world can use her as a conduit. Like she can basically she can call those. That's how she got all the power to cause M-Day, is she was a conduit for the life force. And she got the life force because she was trying to bring her kids back to life, because their souls were sucked out by Mephisto, more or less kind of as to fuck with the Avengers, but also because she created souls in the universe with her reality warping powers, and gods that care about
like, no one's got a
consumption
claim on these.
Yeah. No one gets to make souls on my watch, was his motivation. Because he cares very much. Mephisto is a cosmic being who cares about like the order of souls and death. So he took her sons that she created for Vision and her, and that was part of her grief was that, and also a bunch of other crazy shit that happened to her in her life. But
when I was watching
and
it,
then Doom manipulated her.
Yeah,
I was gonna say when I was watching it and the twin boys were starting to disappear and stuff, and all that shit was falling apart. Like, I was a total wreck. Like, that fucked me up. Like, I was like, you guys got me, you sons of bitches. Dude, I was a wreck. And then at the end, when you hear the kids...
Being
like,
the father of
"Oh!"
twin boys.
Yeah, dude. I'm like, you sons of bitches. It was fucked up.
I actually noticed that, one, we never got to see them disappear off camera, and two, her final words to them were strange. She said, "Thank you for choosing me."
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of had this like knowing look on their face. And then, of course, we hear their voices at the very end when she's doing she's practicing in the astral plane. Like, I wonder what they're going to do. Like, the first thing I thought was like, what? Thank you for choosing me. I thought she just created them, through the whole show, they constantly reiterated the fact that they don't follow her rules. They do what they want, and they also have their own powers, and they're related to her, but they're not exactly hers, and she can't predict them or like anticipate them. They do what they want. Her and Vision, the only characters that had any sort of autonomy in her world were Vision and the twins, and I thought that was really interesting. This "thank you for choosing me," and I was like, did she just ask for two souls to like be part of her thing, and they came, or did she call them?
Maybe it's like a multiverse thing where it's like those are like kids from another timeline, and then like they chose to come be with her in this.
Or so, yeah. We don't. It's really interesting. Her last words to them leave a huge question mark, which apparently they didn't spend a lot of time, mentioning that those characters are coming back, because immediately in the second stinger, two stingers on the end of a television show, in the second stinger, they you hear their voices, cry out for help.
So there's two after credits then?
Yeah, there's 2 stingers. Did you see both of them?
I only saw the one. I assumed
Yeah,
it was over.
No, the first stinger is with the scrolls contacting Photon, Monica, who will be in the next Photon, and then the second one is you see Scarlet Witch in it was like Iceland or something, and she's in a cabin by herself, and she's actually just making tea. And then it goes to the back room, and it's her in an astral form studying the Book of the Damned, the book that Agnes had, and she's studying it in her astral form the same way Doctor Strange did. Time works in a different relativity, and you don't tire in your astral form and all this stuff, so it increases your ability to learn things. And so she's studying in her astral form, and then she hears her kids say like "Mom, Mom." They like call out for her, and she slams the book closed in her astral form, and that's the end of the stinger. So we're supposed to assume that she's hearing them. They're contacting her somehow. They're not actually gone. They're in whatever place they are in.
Thank
Still
God,
exists
because
somewhere.
that was not cool. I was left in kind of a pile. I got to be honest. Like I was like,
Aw.
you can't.
Like I
I'm
said,
like, you can't leave me like this. No, it was so fucked up. And of course, I'm like by myself. It's like a Friday afternoon. Like the sunlight's like
Aw.
crashing in, and I'm watching this fucking show. Oh my God! Like really?
just ugly crying.
Oh, I'm looking on my phone for people to call. I'm like, who can? And
I
nobody
need
gives
to
a
talk
fuck.
to somebody.
Nobody gives
Yeah.
a fuck about Marvel. God damn it!
Mom, I just watched WandaVision. We
You
need to
won't
talk.
understand. It was so sad.
I didn't actually think that they were going to go away. When the thing started shrinking, I just assumed she was going to shrink it to like the size of their house when he's like, let's go home. And they were just going to have like a little bubble house that she could go back to at some time. I didn't know why she got rid of the whole thing. I was like, couldn't you, like she showed that she could change the size of it. Couldn't she just shrink it to where they had like, it ended at their property line basically? Like I assumed it was basically going to be her and the neighbor's house with Agnes. It was just be Agnes being the nosy neighbor, and they were basically going to do it again.
I think she knew. I mean, because obviously the world was breached, and then like all hell broke loose. I think we're supposed to understand that she came to realize that she couldn't keep manipulating things and running from the problem. She had to face it, or else this kind of thing was just going to keep happening. Right? Somebody was going to try to exploit it. And she actually mentioned, I think at one point, she's like, she says like, I'm a hero, or Agnes challenges her, is this what heroes do? And she realizes that, I think at that point we're supposed to understand that she realizes that she can't keep up the charade, even in miniature, which is terrifying. And also, of the two characters that seem very sad about in the scene in the bedroom with the boys, the two characters that seem really sad, it's actually Vision. Vision actually looks really sad because he's saying goodbye because he knows that he's going away. Mm-hmm. But Wanda does not seem sad. And she even says, like, thank you for choosing me. And she doesn't. It's almost like a goodbye, not forever. That's why I keep. Also, we know that these two characters are really important to the MCU. Like, they're recurring characters that are really important. I mean, if they keep doing, if there's phase 9 of the MCU, it could include the Young Avengers. Hell, it might happen in phase 5. It might happen in phase 4. We don't know. So the Young Avengers is definitely a possibility, and Wiccan is a great tie-in that they love. Like the entire Disney Plus formula right now is make a show. It's popular. Let's go ahead and spin off 4 shows from this one and see if any of those are popular, and then 4 from that one, and we'll just have this ever branching extension of content on our platform. So I see Young Avengers in the future because I don't think they're actually going to kill off Wiccan and Tommy.
I didn't look at it. Did they use the same technology they used on The Mandalorian for accelerated CGI and stuff?
All I know is that when it was developed for The Mandalorian, and they developed that technology to make it so much cheaper and more efficient. They said that all of their Disney Plus series going forward were going to use the technology because it allowed them to make cinematic level stuff at a dramatically lower cost. However,
if anyone hasn't watched it, real quick, Parker, for the listeners, if anybody hasn't watched it, there's a short series called The Gallery that's based on The Mandalorian. Basically walks you through the making of The Mandalorian in episodes, and it's episode 4 of The Gallery they talk about the technology they used to make The Mandalorian on the budget they had, because they basically got like 10 times the effective budget they had. Because like they didn't even have money to hire stormtrooper actors for the season finale in season 1.
Right.
They had the 501st Legion come down, and like 60 of the 90 stormtroopers that surround the cantina are like 501st Legion like fans, and so they just got to be in the show. And so like that's how low their budget was, but their CGI was incredible. It's basically all they do is they mock up the CGI in a computer beforehand, and they project it on these super high definition screens around the set. And so like after like 10 feet away from the actors, everything's CGI, but you can't tell because they're in it. And they can see what they're acting in, unlike the prequels where they're just walking up and down a soundstage to blue spots on the ground, and like they have no idea what to look at because they can't see anything. It's like it feels like they called it the environment, right?
They gave it a name.
I would say it was the
Jon Favreau. Because Jon Favreau is the one who like he basically had this vision of because he originally did it for one of his movies, not Iron Man, one of his other movies, lesser known movies. Yes, right. He started with Jungle Book. He's like, can I take, like virtual technology, like virtual reality, some video game kind of technologies, and just basic, like just big LED screens, and kind of instead of going way hi-fi, which is what old Star Wars stuff did, which is like you said, just everything's a blue screen.
Which
so instead of going right, it's like instead of going straight only hi-fi, what if I blend some lo-fi special effects with the stuff that we can do in front of people and have them act at things that are actually around them, but they're all like digitally represented. So really cool stuff.
And the place,
that episode,
you should go watch the episode.
Cool.
It's really interesting the way they blend the technologies together, because they use the VR for perspective on the camera. So as the camera turns, the environment warps the imaging to meet perspective off the camera, because the only point of view that matters is the camera's point of view. And so if you're looking at it from the side and the camera's on your right and the actor's on your left, everything is distorted in the background, but to the camera it all looks correct. And they use a video game engine to handle the 3D modification of the area, because that's basically all video games do, is they just do perspective based imaging. Because if you look at an image like an explosion in a video game, you're looking at a 2-dimensional image of an explosion that's just facing you. And then everyone looking at it sees an image of it facing them. And so there's not actually a 3-dimensional explosion. It's just one sprite that turns to face everybody. And so it's just different than you. And so you don't have to you don't have to go in and add the reflection on the helmet, because the sun is actually in the set reflecting off the guy's helmet. So you save all of that After Effect imaging on all the lighting, all the reflections, all of that stuff just gets pre-added. And so you don't have to worry about it later. And so it saves you like 3/4 of the work.
I do not know if I'm assuming they use similar techniques in WandaVision, because they were I know that Disney said this is the reason why they were so excited about Jon Favreau's kind of like pet project using The Mandalorian to really push the envelope on this, is they wanted to use it over and over again on Disney Plus stuff. Yeah. That being said, I do know that I think the final episode of WandaVision was the single most expensive episode of television. It used to be that episode of Game of Thrones, the battle, the big battle scene in the Game of Thrones used to be the most expensive, and now I think this WandaVision episode is the most expensive single episode. I don't quote me on that, but I know at least it set a record for expense. WandaVision did set a record for expense.
I mean, there's a lot of special effects in the final episode.
Yeah.
Basically just wall-to-wall 3D environments.
So, with all of that said, back up for a second. How much do we love Vision? Like, that was the coolest scene ever, where the white Vision was talking to the colored Vision.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they were
going
having
back and
conversation.
Forth. Oh,
I request a dialogue. Like, and they just start
good.
talking to each other.
It was so
they're
good.
like doing logic problems.
Yes. Like, so good.
I assume we're getting Vision back at some point, right? Parker, is there like a reference to something? Has that happened before where they had like evil Vision? Like, as far as I know, that never happened. But
I don't think they've ever had like an anti-Vision that I know of, but they have had Vision resets several times, right? Like Ultron would try to reset his programming because Ultron was responsible for the original Vision, just like in the MCU universe. Or there was actually with Wanda, Wanda and Vision have had a really rocky relationship back and forth, and at one point Vision was really upset with her, but how she treated the universe, rewriting everything, trying to rewrite him, trying to resurrect him, and potentially murder other people. So he's become at different points and totally on the outs with her as well. And Vision himself has been, created and recreated, and every time he's not exactly the original Vision.
Yeah.
So, by the way, the Vision in comic books is always, in my opinion, not a very special character. He's really flat. The only time he actually becomes a really interesting character is somebody actually made a Vision standalone series in which he had a wife and 2 children that were both like Visions. Like there was girl Vision and a boy Vision and a older sister Vision. And that show was fantastic. And that comics show. That comic was really, really strong. And it played a lot like WandaVision does, which is you don't really understand at the beginning of the comic how this is all happening. Like you don't understand how he has a family and how it's working. And he does try to live an idyllic life in the suburbs of some town and just tries to be a regular guy. But of course he's the Vision. And so it kind of plays similar to WandaVision. They probably took some themes from that comic strip where Vision was just trying to be a regular Joe. Because usually in the comics he's not like Data from Star Trek where he's always trying to understand people. So he's not like he doesn't really have like a character arc and character growth. He's just a really smart, super tough robot that Ultron built. That's it. Like most of the time.
Good
even
guy.
when he's falling in love with good guy. He's just standard good guy. Good guy 5000 is kind of what it is. And even when he falls in love with Wanda, that was such an old story arc. I don't even know how sophisticated it was. I do not have any of the comics where they have a romance, but that was really that was in a pretty pulpy time of comics where comics didn't have extremely complex storylines. So I do not know even how believable or realistic or earned that romance was. It might have just been the Avengers need a dramatic romance interest, so let's do Wanda and Vision because it would be kind of weird. I do know all the fallout from it was much more interesting, but after House of M. But
Parker, do you think Vision will be able to activate after Scarlet Witch activates in MCP? What's the over/under?
Oh, shit.
Probably really, 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 really high. I would be shocked.
Scarlet Witch is releasing right after WandaVision ends.
Hot take.
Yeah, I would be absolutely shocked. I would be shocked. Yeah, I would be shocked if Wanda did do something with Vision.
Nice.
I agree with you. Vision was awesome. I also love Paul Bettany. Paul Bettany is amazing. I loved him from the moment I saw him in A Knight's Tale. He played Chaucer in A Knight's Tale.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
he plays Chaucer in A Knight's Tale. He's amazing in that movie.
What are you doing? Trudging.
Yeah.
What? To trudge when one has nothing left to do but simply soldier on.
Yeah.
Trudging.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. His character, based on Chaucer, he has the same name. You're supposed to assume he's the same person. It's super strong. I love everything Paul Bettany's ever touched.
Did you watch the interview of him? I think it was with Conan when they were talking about when he got cast as Vision originally back in Iron Man.
No, and that's weird. I recognized his voice only after, like, I think Avengers. Like it was the Avengers before I finally recognized his voice. Yeah. But anyway, it's Paul Bettany.
The interview with Conan, he's talking about how he had worked with Jon Favreau on some project. I can't remember what it was, but he got the phone call and he's like, hey, and Jon Favreau was immensely excited because they liked working together. But he's like, hey, we have a part. I need someone to be a voice actor for a disembodied robot that has no personality. And I immediately thought of you. He's like, thanks. I much appreciate that. And so he ends up at this dinner party after they had done the first Iron Man movie, and it's with, I can't remember who it was, but it was basically some really big Hollywood people. I don't know, it wasn't like Spielberg, but it was like that level big, like huge influential people in Hollywood. And he's like, oh yeah, Paul, you should go downstairs and check out my basement. There's a rec room and a swimming pool. And I know you like swimming, so he's like, oh, that sounds great. I'll go check that out. And he's talking about how he's a very antisocial person. He doesn't, like, at a party, he's usually the guy standing in a corner with a coat on. Like, he, like, doesn't, like, interact well with people. And so he's like, yeah, I'll be polite. I'll go down and check this out. Like, that sounds like I'll get a chance to get away from everybody and calm down. And so he goes down, and there's an elevator in the guy's house, and it goes down 3 floors to the pool room. And it's like, okay. Like, yeah, okay, guy. Yeah. I see the big flex. And so the doors open, and it's just pitch black. And he's like, oh, well, there must be, like, he has an elevator in his basement. Clearly, there's, like, a motion sensor. He takes 2 steps out and then plummets into water and immediately realizes that the pool was covered with some kind of pool covering, and he is encased in fabric, drowning. He's like, I'm going to die in this man's pool. But he's like, I had just gotten my phone and put pictures of, like, my wife on it. And so he, like, tries to thrust his hand up out of the water to save his phone, and then realizes quickly that he's going to die. So he drops the phone and just starts scrambling for life. And he, like, eventually gets out of the pool, obviously doesn't die because, you know, we have WandaVision, but climbs up out of the pool, and then he's trying to think about how he's going to play this off when he gets upstairs dripping wet. He walks out of the elevator just soaking wet into a high-class dinner party where he's wearing, like, a suit. He's just completely soaked. He's like, yeah, I figured I'd go for a quick dip. So yeah, I like Paul Bettany. He's funny.
Yeah. I really liked him I loved him in Master and Commander. He plays the Doctor in Master and Commander.
Yes. Yeah, he was fun.
He's great in that. And a really wonderful, just straight balls out action movie that I loved, and it makes me really mad. I'm trying to think.
Oh God, Priest.
Is it Priest? Is that the name of it?
Is that the super weird, like, fantasy one?
No. Okay, I have seen parts of Priest, and yes, that is a balls out crazy action movie. But I'm actually thinking of the one where he plays. Oh no, Legion. That's the one where he plays
Legion,
the angel.
Where he plays the angel, yeah.
Yeah, I actually really like Legion, and Priest is, like, basically the same character as the character from Legion, although the movie is so much worse. Like, Legion is actually a fairly entertaining.
I don't think
movie.
I've ever actually seen Legion. I might have to actually watch it if you think.
It's a blast.
Okay.
He plays Michael, the actual archangel in the movie. Mm-hmm. And it is a fun movie. It's a good suspense horror action thriller. It's one of those, like, they try to combine 5 genres together, but it works.
Yeah,
it's actually
I feel like
fun.
I feel like Priest is Paul Bettany's I, Frankenstein, where it's just like a decent actor got roped into some bullshit contract they couldn't get out of, and they're like, nope, you're playing in this garbage ass movie. I hope you have fun. He's like, God damn it.
Priest is completely over the top. It's 100%. But Legion is also a little bit over the top, but I think it knows what it is, which I like.
You've seen movie 42, right?
I don't think so.
It's the movie of all the shorts.
Oh God!
Like, it's like a bunch of comedy shorts in a movie.
It's hilarious.
Okay, do you know the backstory of this movie? Okay, so the guy who got the movie made was basically just a contract lawyer. But he wanted to get this stupid, ridiculous, raunchy, like, over-the-top movie made. But he knew the only reason people would go see it if it had a bunch of famous people in it. So he went around to all these agents for all these people and, like, pitched the movie in a very vague way and got the people to commit to, like, you know, like a 3-line part in a movie, but, like, it was like an ironclad contract they couldn't get out of. And eventually he got enough people to sign on to this movie, and they were basically entrapped. Like, they could not get out of it short of, like, basically quitting being an actor. And then he made this horrible, ridiculous movie where it's just, like, it's very dark humor through a lot of it, but you just have to watch it. A lot of the scenes are amazingly funny. Some of them are a little creepy and go a little too far, but a lot of them are hilarious. But yeah, there was apparently multiple times where the actors just, like, walked off set because they would not do what they were telling them to do.
The Hugh Jackson.
He's like, yeah, just act more like this. He's like, I'm not doing that.
Hugh Jackman with a nutsack on his neck was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life.
I think my favorite one... Man, there's so many good ones. The basketball coach was a good one. Do you remember that one?
I don't remember. What was the deal with that?
He's giving the motivational speech to the first black high school that was allowed to play against a white high school. In, like,
oh my God! And wasn't that?
It's just hilarious. He's like, and all of the players are super downtrodden. I was like, man, there's no way we can win. this team hasn't lost in like 10 years. He's like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, because they haven't been allowed to play you guys yet. He's like, you are 7'1" and you're 13. Like, there is no way you guys are gonna lose this game. He's like, well, I think coach is saying is we need to play as a team. He's like, no, play as an individual. Just dunk the ball. Like,
Oh,
and they
yeah.
go out there, they beat them like 106-2. Like, it just completely destroys them. Like, they do the tip off. It's like Wilt Chamberlain versus like the Mini-Me character. Like, it's so
Oh, yeah.
ridiculous. Like, there's no chance of them ever winning the game. But because the stigma was, oh, you guys aren't as good as the white team, that like it was never gonna work, but they just shit all over them. Halle Berry's in it. What's her name? The girl from The Good Place. Kirsten Bell.
There's
I can't
a
remember.
ton of
And
people
so
in it.
the plotline of the movie is this guy basically goes to some Hollywood director or Hollywood like general manager and like pitches his movie as a writer. He's like, I want to get this movie made, and the guy's like, no, that's terrible. He starts describing the skits to him, and so the skits are just like they're visually shown to you as him describing them to the guy to get the movie made. And after the first skit, he's like, that's terrible. Like, what's your next one? He's like, goes to the next one, and so it starts the next skit, and it keeps happening and happening and happening. And then eventually he gets to the point, he's like, get out of my office. You're a psycho. Like, we're never going to make your dumb movie. And he pulls out a gun and takes the guy hostage and starts reading him more of his skits. And then eventually they get out into the parking lot where he's going to literally kidnap him and take him back to his house. And I think he ends up shooting a security guard because the guy won't go with him. It's fucking hilarious.
Oh my god. Yeah.
It's
so
a really funny movie if you like outrageous humor.
Oh yeah, because one of them was Johnny Knoxville actually captures a leprechaun and actually puts him in the basement and holds him hostage and makes him give him a pot of gold. And the leprechaun is trying to kill Johnny Knoxville, and like it's just ludicrous. Like the whole thing is ludicrous.
Are you
Like-
sure that's not a scene of Always Sunny?
No, it's not. Not that
I'm
one.
pretty sure that's just Always Sunny.
It sounds
All
about
right.
the same.
I'll take your no, because that does happen on Always Sunny. I just
Yeah.
don't know if that's what you're referring
No,
to.
no. There
All right.
is one. They capture a leprechaun. Mm.
Oh boy.
Anyway, so the next one's going to be Falcon and what's his face?
Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier. So that looks
Bucky.
awesome. I'm excited about
Buddy
that.
Cap. I hope it's Buddy Spy. What I
is Buddy
really
Spy.
want, I know, but I don't think it'll actually be. I want it to be my favorite MCU movie. Even though they're all of them are really fun. My favorite no, not all of them. Iron Man 3, but my favorite MCU movie is actually Winter Soldier, and the reason why is I love that they just kind of put a super standard, circa 1998, spy thriller into the MCU. They just did it. They're just like, let's just make Captain Marvel a spy thriller movie.
Well, I mean, when you
And-
got 22 movies to go through, you might as well pick
Yeah.
one of each.
Yeah, I really liked it. I liked it in the same way that I liked Thor Ragnarok. It's the same kind of thing. It subverted expectations, but still, actually, I think that it did. Thor Ragnarok really it was just Taika Waititi being like, here's infinity money and a character, and he goes wee, and he just does what he wants. But
Dude, that was the
and
best
it
one of the
wasn't
whole
super
franchise.
Thor.
I fucking loved that.
Yes, but it doesn't feel very. To me, it doesn't feel very Thor.
I mean,
I
Iron
don't.
Man 3 subverted expectation.
But I didn't want to see
Just in
Lethal
a very
Weapon 4.
different way.
Yeah,
Just made
it
everyone sad.
Yeah, it's like, what if we made an Iron Man movie, but instead of Iron Man, it was basically Lethal Weapon 5? You're like, So I like
Let's be
that.
fair, Iron Man 3 was not great, but if you go back and watch it, it's not as bad as you remember.
It's you told me that
in the
earlier.
moment. You're just very upset that you're not getting what you wanted, and that's
You-
why it's bad.
I want you to know that you actually I took to heart what you said, and I went back and I watched Iron Man 3, and it wasn't as bad as I remember for that reason. But the reason why I love Winter Soldier, and every time I watch it I like it, is because it does a really good job of taking Captain America and actually making him into the modern Captain America, which is actually in the Marvel Universe, which is he's basically a super agent, super soldier in the modern universe. When he's not, when he's not, in fact, he spends most of his time in his standalone stuff, not running the Avengers, but really working with SHIELD and being, a super agent. And so I really like that they did a clear motion. The other thing I love about it is the incredible attention to detail on him. because in the original series, he's just a he's just a ballroom brawler, right? He's just like, he is a super soldier, so he has super reflexes and a lot of vitality, but he's really just punching and kicking people. He just has basic army training. He's just putting boots to face, right? Mm-hmm. But in the second one, in the very first opening scene where he assaults
hardcore ninja man.
He's doing Krav Maga. Like, he actually uses modern special forces martial arts. He actually uses stuff that if you had super strength and powers, you could take to that level, and so he does some flippy kicky stuff too. But I love how he actually he modernizes in a lot of ways. His outfit modernizes, his like outlook on life modernizes, and then of course the character versus character conflict in the movie, which is him not liking that espionage has become this thing where people are constantly compromising their values, and him not appreciating that.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the payoff for him, which is he just gets to punch Hydra. He's like, when at that wonderful scene where Natasha is beside herself because this organization she's devoted her whole life to, that she felt like redeemed her from her horrible youth, she's been a puppet by this shadow organization the whole time, and she is actually like despondent about it. And Captain America is smiling, like he smiles for the first time. He's like, "How are you smiling?" He's like, because I finally get to punch something. Like, I finally get to see who my enemy is, and I just get to go punch it. And like, that's so good. Such a great movie. So I hope that they keep doing more stuff like that. That's what I want out of Winter Soldier, and I hope it's not lethal. I hope it's not Lethal Weapon.
I hope what we get out of Falcon and Winter Soldier is just more scenes of them in the terminal and them in the car just hating each other. That's what I want.
I hate
the
so
scenes
much.
where Sebastian Stan and what the fuck is the other?
That makes me mad. Right? I can't think of his name. Yeah, Mackie. Is it Andrea Mackie? Andrew Mackie? Let me look. I'll look.
Anthony Mackie. It's more of a common name than Andre, I think.
It's Anthony. You're right. You got it.
Anthony Mackie. Yeah. So yeah, I just love that they had such a great chemistry of disliking each other. And because it was just like, he's like, you couldn't have done that sooner. He's like, I hate you. It's just the pregnant pause, then just a flat, I hate you. I want that. Like, they had such good chemistry. So if hold that,
I think that'll happen.
I'll be happy. Yeah, me too. And obviously they become frenemies at some point, right? Like even at the final scene of Endgame where they're like on the shore talking, and he's like they're basically friends at that point. But I want that tension of like they're always trying to one up each other, like Legolas and Gimli, and they just like have this like weird feud. Like, that was fun.
Oh, cool! I did not know this, but George St. Pierre, who's super famous,
not that famous.
Super famous MMA fighter, who played Batroc the Leaper in the opening scene of Winter Soldier.
The Leaper?
Batroc
his name?
Batroc is.
Shit.
Yeah, they never call him the Leaper, but his full bad guy name is Batroc the Leaper, and his whole thing was kickboxing, right? That was his thing. And so by the way, that's what, if you pay attention, that's what the only thing George St. Pierre uses in his fight against Cap is like just straight kickboxing. But apparently he's in this show as well, and so people have been asking him questions about how much he can reveal. Of course, he can't reveal anything, but
the 900-page NDA from Marvel.
But I didn't realize he's going to be back in this one. Ooh, I hope this is Winter Soldier
Zemo
Part 2.
Going to be in this one too? I know Zemo's been confirmed as being Zemo again. But I just assumed he was going to be in this because he was most closely tied to these guys. Because Civil War was, Zemo.
Okay, I was about to click on the IMDb page, but I'm actually not going to, and this is why.
Don't want to know.
I like discovering these things in the game because I know things about the Marvel Universe. I do not like looking at the cast list.
Knowing so many of the story arcs, knowing who's in the movie will probably tell you what's going to happen. So yeah, that would be that.
Yeah, I purposely avoided, and I actually got really mad. The internet spoiled Agatha Harkness for me 24 hours before I saw that episode because I saw that episode. I told you just
to watch it.
I know, but I was trying to catch up with the episode with Sarah, and when it happened, and I saw the word Agatha Harkness, I was like, shit. The good news is I didn't know of a single moment in the Marvel Universe where Agatha interacted with Scarlet Witch directly. Yeah. So that was it didn't help me understand what was going to happen in the series. But the fact that I know that name immediately makes me go, no. So
that's what. Is Scarlet Witch in the normal comics basically just a magic user, or is it that she has mutant powers?
Yes.
So do they wishy-washy, or is it both? Is her mutant power she can use magic?
Yes. It's really
Okay.
it's like it's very poorly defined. I
Basically,
don't know
her
how
mutant power
scientific
is
it
that she's good at magic.
Yeah.
Like, maybe she's a
Oh,
witch,
let me
and then
see.
also... Yeah. Because she's, like, one of the most powerful magic
I'm-
users, isn't she? Isn't she up there on the
Yes,
list?
she's up there with like in every comic
like,
in
top
which there's like a
5,
hodgepodge
right?
of magic. Yeah, in every comic in which there's a hodgepodge of magic users, like the Doctor Strange one that I did a comic corner on, like she's featured in multiple issues. She is really now the thing, and just like in the show, she has a lot of magic potential, but she knows like almost nothing about magical spells, and that's actually how she shows up in a lot of those arcs. Is she's trying to do something magically and she has no idea how to do it, so she's acting, asking Doctor Strange how to do it is usually how it works.
Because it's like Strange, Doom, and then like I guess Mordo is in there somewhere, and then like Scarlet Witch is like the only other like big name I know of that was like on the top of that list.
Okay, so this is actually something that this is actually something that I knew, but I'm glad this is confirming it, because I actually have, this is actually my comic corner that I'm going to do next time was about this precisely, but I have the comic in which this was revealed. She's actually not a mutant because she's not Magneto's daughter.
In the current canon.
Yeah, she was actually an orphan enhanced by the High Evolutionary to become a conduit for chaos magic because she's a Nexus being. So basically, because she is a Nexus being, he used her and basically made her a conduit for chaos magic. And so she is a magic user. She does not use mutant powers to manipulate anything. Quicksilver was given his speedster powers also by the High Evolutionary. He is technically not a mutant. And for
Even
a long
though
time,
they're both famous for being mutants.
Yeah. It's actually, I really don't like that. I think it's a real big cop-out. It's just like creating drama.
Yeah.
It's very soap opera style. She's like, oh, you mean she was not her son? You're like, that kind of thing. It's kind of that kind of thing. It's more long shot, I'm my own grandpa kind of stuff. Just because,
Speaking of, I can't wait for X Factor.
Yeah. But yeah, he is.
Can't wait for all the incest jokes.
Yeah.
Jeremy, you know about this, right?
Incest? No.
Yeah. So if
I think we've explained this to him before. I think we've explained.
Oh no, I understand that
I know
part.
I've explained it to Jason.
Yeah, I understand.
Incest or long shot Shatterstar?
The long shot Shatterstar and being the own, yeah, all that shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you get cloned and your clone goes back in time and impregnates your grandmother with your father, is that incest?
No, that's fine.
That's the question.
Actually,
That's fine.
That's
it's the
fine.
2-generation rule. As long as you're 2 generations away, you're safe.
No, that's absolutely fine. In fact, it's.
I can't believe
certain
that
cultures
this
that-
made it into Marvel canon and has not been retconned at this point. I cannot believe that is the thing.
No, it's still fine.
It's so ridiculous.
It makes sense.
Whoever wrote that clearly has some very weird tastes and wanted everyone else to know what it was.
There's certain cultures that's just how they do it. It's a culture
I
thing.
totally forgot. I totally forgot about that.
What? The cultures clone themselves and go back in time.
Correct.
So,
Good to know.
So of course on the Marvel Wiki right now, the most clicked characters are Vision,
Wanda and Vision.
Wanda Maximoff, Scarlet Witch, and then of course Photon,
Agatha.
who's actually Monica Rambeau, who actually is not going by Photon right now. Apparently in the Marvel Universe, her current one is Spectrum, but she has been called Photon before. I had forgotten.
Yeah.
I was introduced to her in a really amazing comic, and I totally forgotten the name of it. It's called Hate. Agents of Hate was actually the name of the title, and Hate stands for the highest anti-terrorism effort. And the members of Hate were the best, like in terms of characters. There were some of the. It was Monica Rambeau. She was the leader. Boom Boom, the X-Force character, who's like a super chick, a Mallrat character. Aaron Stack, the Machine Man, who is a android who really hates people, but he feels like a moral obligation to not let things die. But man, he really fucking hates humans, and he's basically Bender if Bender was a superhero.
Uh-huh.
That's
I
basically
was
who
getting
he
ready
is.
to say Bender.
Yeah, he's basically Bender if Bender was a superhero. And Elsa Bloodstone, who's one of my favorite characters in the Marvel Universe. And that Agents of Hate, oh my gosh, that was such an amazing comic. I had totally forgotten about them until just now. Oh man, that was some of the best stuff that was ever made by the Marvel Universe. And it was very much Oh yeah, the Captain.
Yeah.
The Captain. The Captain was one of the other member that I couldn't. I was like, why can't I remember his name?
Yeah, so basically,
it's so
Boom
good.
Boom is Jubilee, except she uses M80s instead of sparklers.
Yes. And she has no regard for human life. She's totally fine with
Yeah,
murdering
none
people
at all.
wholesale. Yeah.
She doesn't necessarily want to kill people, she just doesn't care.
Yeah.
As where Sin just wants to kill everybody. Alright, let's get out of here before this goes to 4 hours. Alright, you guys ready? What?
Okay, so I have this comic and I have forgotten this origin story. The Captain, is kind of like a Superman type character. I want you to hear his origin story because you like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. His basic story is, what if Mac got superpowers? That's basically what it is.
Oh god.
So one night, while on a bender in the streets of Brooklyn, two aliens of unknown origin came across this man who was to become the Captain. They granted him the Messianic Sita Complex, the heart star of a space between galaxies, and a source of infinite power and manipulation. He was tasked with using his newfound power and glory to make this nightmare land called Brooklyn a better place. He then used the newly gained superhuman powers to beat the aliens to death because he, quote, thought when you hit leprechauns in the head they turned into gold coins. Finding that this was untrue, he bent over with the intent of robbing them and instead vomited onto his extraterrestrial benefactors and passed out.
Nice.
And
Moral of the story, don't go to Brooklyn.
Yeah. And then, of course, he was recruited by the Agents of Hate to be part of this team because he does have, like, insane power, but he's just some guy from Brooklyn. The aliens made a mistake and gave it to just a degenerate.
It sounds like Power Man 2.0.
Oh, it's so funny. Oh, yeah.
All right.
This team...
Seriously,
this
we
team
gotta
is
go.
fantastic.
We gotta go.
Yeah.
All right, you guys ready?
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4,
Nope.
5.
Why did I think it was
Why are
3?
you-
Jesus. Okay.
What?
I don't know why I thought it was
You
3.
clapped. I just clapped
clapped-
on 3.
I clapped on 3. I don't know why.
Parker.
It was
Parker, you
terrible.
know what? That's my fault. I
Okay.
didn't say on 5. We just always do it
I
on
know.
5. I don't know why I would assume that you had the common sense to know that.
I got
All
so
right,
damn
moving on.
excited. Okay.
1. I got so excited. 1,